least today, whereby they're just trying to also see how well they can finalize on this verification of presidential aspirants. At least so hopeful, since the process began on Monday. Rigorous process begins today, but so far at least around over 40 aspirants have been disqualified from this race. Today, IBC is set to meet other two, that is Professor Wajakoya as well as Honorable Mongare. So will they also be cleared? Will they be, forming the list of those that will be going all the way to the ballot? Will they be forming the list of those who will be disqualified? We wait to see how that will pan out. Moreover, we shall also be looking at how the roads are going to be looking like today. Likoni Road being our center of focus, and this is even after just this past weekend, there's a section of that road that has been closed. So I'll be telling you all about that and why it has been closed, even as we continue seeing how the expressway is, how it's working out all together. So clearly a lot packed up for you this Monday morning. Stay put up until the end of the show. I'm Doreen Arange Okelo. Regina.
Indeed, a very warm welcome. Thank you for making time. As you heard there from my colleagues, we have so much in line and in store for you this morning, bringing you up to speed with those stories that have been making headlines in the last 24 hours, regionally and internationally. Just but a sneak peek, in the United States of America, the conversation about gun ownership is rife, and this is after 19 people, including 2 teachers, were shot dead in a shootout in a school in Texas. Now, that's a question that, policymakers as well as citizens are having in as far as matters of gun-related incidences are concerned. Now, back home, questions about efficiency and efficacy of the electoral body, and that is IEBC, after delays, in the clearance of aspirants who had to wait up until 3 hours to have their documents verified. Now, this process began on May 29th and is going to run up until June 7th. On top of that and so much more, we're going to be looking at what has been happening over the weekend in as far as sports is concerned. And I know Liverpool fans are quite disappointed this morning, but hey, it is what it is. Good morning once again. I'm Regina Manyara. We have so much for you. Just remember that we welcome your feedback. Get us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. My Twitter handle is at Ray Manyara. Now, without further ado, we take a quick breather and we'll be speaking news in not too long. Do not go away. Good morning. You're watching KBC Channel 1 and I'm Regina Manyara. You can get us on Twitter on KBC Channel 1. My Twitter handle is at Ray Manyara. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has called on Kenyans to continue being cautious of COVID-19, saying despite the relaxation of the disease containment measures, the danger of infection spreading is still lurks. Now, the head of state spoke on Sunday at State House, Nairobi, when he presided over the 92nd inspection parade of the St. John Ambulance Kenya, where he announced a 150 million shillings annual government sponsorship for the organization, beginning with 100 million shillings this financial year. The call by the president came as the country's COVID-19 positivity rate dropped to 3.7%, with 82 new cases from 5.6% recorded the previous day.
President Uhuru Kenyatta Sunday rallied Kenyans to continue being cautious of COVID-19, saying despite containment measures being relaxed, the danger of infection spreading is still very high. The president said the country must continue to be careful in their daily undertakings, calling on all to get vaccinated or receive their booster jabs to tame the spread of the pandemic.
Na hiyo nataka nihimize tafadhali. Wengi wanaona kama ugonjwa umepotea. Hujapotea. Njia ya kujikinga ni chanjo. Na ni vizuri kama Wakenya tusifikirie ya kwamba ugonjwa umeisha, turudi maisha ya kikawaida. Ni sawa turudi maisha ya kikawaida, lakini tuwe tumechanjwa kwa sababu hakuna kinga ingine.
The president, who was presiding over the 92nd inspection parade of St. John Ambulance Kenya, announced a 150 million shillings annual government sponsorship for the organization, starting with 100 million shillings this financial year.
You generously donated to St. John your own funds amounting to Kenya shillings 10 million. This showed that you trusted us as the management to decide what was to be done with the funds.
The president, who is the chief patron of the humanitarian institution, challenged it to include more young people in its activities by engaging learning institutions at primary, secondary and tertiary levels. The head of state directed the Ministry of Education to develop innovative initiatives that will foster and recognize student volunteers, among them preferential consideration when seeking internship opportunities.
Through these initiatives, we expect to reduce post-impact accident injuries and fatalities, especially those that occur during evacuation and transfer to hospital. Ultimately, as a country, we should plan for first aid training and basic post-accident evacuation protocols to be a prerequisite for all licensed drivers.
The head of state particularly commended St. John Kenya for being at the forefront in tackling emergencies, citing the organization's leading role in the containment of the COVID-19 pandemic, and directed the Ministry of Transport to develop an appropriate sectorial plan as part of its 2023 to 2027 medium plan to offer first aid training and basic post-accident evacuation protocols as a prerequisite for all licensed drivers.
I am also glad to note that the Ministry of Transport, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and St. John's, has put in place elaborate plans to implement road safety and first aid safety training for our border riders across the country. We have, as I am led to understand today, launched an initial pilot scheme covering some 200 border riders, which we believe shall be key.
Earlier, President Kenyatta, who chaired a St. John Kenya board meeting at State House, Nairobi, in his capacity as the chief patron of the organization, was knitted to the Order of the St. John for his service to humanity. The president's call came as the country's COVID-19 positivity dropped to 3.7%, with the cases 69 from 2,197 samples tested in the last 24 hours, from 5.5% on Friday.
Head of state there that we are not out of the woods yet in as far as COVID-19 is concerned. If we need to don a mask, well, do so. Now, talking about matters election is that 2 aspirants were disqualified by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission on Sunday. Justice Juma of Justice and Freedom Party, independent aspirant Peter Kingori, who were first to appear before the commission for clearance, were rejected after failing to submit requisite documents. In the meantime, Deputy President William Ruto and Kalonzo Musyoka are expected to face the commission on the 4th of June, while Raila Odinga will appear before the commission on the 5th of June, the deadline being 7th June. Here are the details.
The August 9th presidential race is slowly narrowing from the 18 candidates who had been given a go-ahead by IBC to present themselves for clearance. IBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati, who is also the presidential election returning officer, Sunday commenced the process of clearing those who had shown interest for the top seat, an exercise that will run to the 7th of June. Independent aspirant Peter Kingori was the first to face the commission, but his attempt failed flat after he only managed to present 65 legitimate signatures from the required 48,000.
Also, the self-declaration form is not accompanying the application. So, we shall reject your nomination. Your registration is rejected, but we are here until the 6th of June.
Kingori too had a second tribulation after his running mate Koki Nyang'ao failed to submit a passport and a self-declaration form and code of conduct. Kingori, while assuring his supporters that will be on the ballot, promised to have all the required documents and signatures before the 6th June deadline.
It has been tough and it's not yet over. For us, we feel lucky, much as today there was some few shortcomings in regard to some paperwork that were not complete. And as well, we also need to fill up some bit of signatures and ID copies. But it's doable. For us, we are excited. We have been given a second chance. The chair was very clear that they are here up to 6th. So all we need to do is to rectify what the shortcoming in terms of signature and IDs.
Meanwhile, Justice Juma, who is eyeing the top seat under Freedom and Justice Party, was disqualified after failing to meet the required number of endorsements.
Well, I think those are the technicalities we need to bridge, because I would have expected a communication from IEBC to inform me if the electronic version that they're having are not in tandem with the hard copy that we gave them. I think that is not on our side. You can forgive us on that, but we will provide them to them since they are there. I think it is these are matters of administrative issue.
On Monday, Professor George Wajakoya of Roots Party and Walter Mwangare of Umoja Summit Party will have a date with the Commission, while Deputy President William Ruto of UDA Party and Kalonzo Musyoka of Wiper Party have a date with Commission on the 4th of June, with Raila Odinga of the Azimio la Umoja wa Kenya Coalition Party presenting himself for clearance on Sunday the 5th. The exercise will close with Njeru Kadhangu of Ford Asili on 6th June.
Day one of registration of presidential aspirants by IBC ended in despair for the first two presidential aspirants after their candidature was rejected. The political campaign's atmosphere is expected to heat up as IBC seeks to complete the process before 6th of next month.
Still on matters politics, leaders affiliated to the Azimio la Umoja wa Kenya coalition have dismissed claims by Deputy President William Ruto of a plot to rig the forthcoming presidential election in favor of the Azimio flag bearer Raila Odinga. The leaders instead accuse Deputy President Ruto of misleading the electorate and challenging him to be ready to concede defeat if he loses the election. Weekly Fokech reports.
Odinga's last day of the sustained 5 days campaigns in the Western Kenya region began with a fellowship at Mesiku Catholic Church, where the Azimio leaders urged for peace and tolerance during the electioneering period.
We are grateful because on an occasion like this, Christians come together to fellowship, to worship, and also to think about where we're coming from and where we want to go.
Tunataka uchaguzi wa 2022 uwe wa amani. Kwa hivyo tunaombea taifa letu.
Odinga later led the charge in stopovers at Mesiku and Chelo markets, as well as rallies in Sirisia and Bumula.
Sirisia hoye!
The coalition's presidential flag bearer Raila Odinga wooing locals with pledges, including putting up a one-stop border post at the Loahaha border point to open the region for bilateral trade.
Hapa Loahaha tutaweka one-stop border post, ili watu wao wanaweza kupita na kurudi kwa njia rahisi, wanakwenda kufanya biashara Uganda na wanarudi pande hii.
This adds to the long list of Odinga's pledges, which includes, among other things, universal healthcare, education for all, zero tolerance to graft, and improved state of agriculture.
Zamani kulikuwa hapa hata na kiwanda ya tobacco hapo, sio? Mlikuwa hata ile ya pamba, silikuwa hapa, sio hata zilikwisha. Watu wakawa mafukara, sio? Tutaanzisha tena.
The former Prime Minister also dismissed claims by his main challenger in the presidential race, Deputy President William Ruto, of a plot to rig him out, with leaders accompanying Odinga exuding confidence of a round one victory.
The first round tunapata 65 to 70%. Na inakuwa Azimio kutoka huko chini mpaka juu.
tafadhali tusigawanywe kura. Kura zote tuweke kwa kikapu ya Azimio ndivyo tuweze kuendelea. Tumekubaliana?
Hebu niwaulize swali. Kama kweli Wetangula anaamini Ruto anaenda kuwa rais na anaenda kumpa kazi ya uspika wa bunge la kitaifa, angewacha hiyo kazi kubwa yeye kwenda boss wa Senate, arudi tena kuomba usenate hapa Bungoma?
Na mimi nimekuwa na Raila hii miaka yote, nimeona yale anaweza kufanya katika nchi hii. Yeye peke yake ndio ana uzalendo wa kuleta watu pamoja.
Hata sisi kama chama ya DAP tulisikizana, hata tukaweka mkataba, lakini hakuna masharti yoyote ati lazima mfanye hii ndio nisifanye hii.
Kwa hiyo kuanzia leo mimi Kipruto Arap Kirwa nimejiuzulu kama mwenyekiti msaidizi wa chama cha UDA.
Now, while that was happening still on the campaign trail, Deputy President William Ruto said that 1.5 million vulnerable persons in Kenya will be receiving their monthly stipends at the end of every month, like any other government employee should, if he is elected president. Ruto, who led the Kenya Kwanza campaigns in Kirinyaga, says the elderly and vulnerable are exposed to hardships by the current delayed disbursements.
Being the first day of the official campaign period, the Deputy President led the Kenya Kwanza troops in a series of rallies in Kirinyaga County. Ruto decrying delayed disbursement of a cash transfer program to the elderly, orphans and the disabled.
Wale watu wote wa Kenya, wale vulnerable, watu wanyonge, tuko na watu karibu 1.5 million katika taifa letu la Kenya. Mayatima, wazee wakongwe, pamoja na walemavu ambao wako kwa program ya cash transfer ya kila mwezi. Lakini hiyo cash transfer inakuja baada ya miezi 3, miezi 4, miezi 7.
He promised to fast track the disbursement by ensuring that the monies are deposited in their accounts before the payment of government workers every month.
Kabla hatujalipa mshahara wa rais wa Kenya, mambo ya stipend na malipo ya wale wanyonge, walemavu, mayatima na wale wazee italipwa mbele ya kulipa mishahara ya Wakenya wengine, kwa sababu hawa ni wenzetu and they need our support more than any other sector in the Republic of Kenya.
The Kenya Kwanza captain accusing his rivals in Azimio of having little grasp of the problems bedeviling the country.
Vijana tuko nao 500,000 wamemaliza shule, wako na certificate, wengine wako na diploma, wengine wako na degree. Shida si ujinga, shida sio masomo, shida ni ajira na biashara, my friend.
Wale wa Azimio wanasema shida ya Kenya ni ujinga. Sisi tunasema shida ya Kenya si ujinga, shida ya Kenya ni uchumi ambao umezoroteka na wananchi ambao hawana kazi na hawana pesa ya biashara.
Ruto rooted for the bottom-up economic model, which he says prioritizes youth empowerment and strengthening of small and micro enterprises.
They have the wrong problem, they have the wrong diagnosis, and they don't have a track record of doing anything.
Tangaza wewe mzee wa kuzimia ni PO Box home. PO Box wapi? PO Box wapi? PO Box wapi? Wacha nione kura ya William Ruto hapa.
Mimi nataka kuhakikishia William Samoei Ruto ground ya Kirinyaga iko sawa na sisi hatujahama, si ndio?
From the campaign trail is that Kenya has been hailed for her efforts in restoring peace through its troops under the United Nations mission in Sierra Leone. Now, speaking in Nairobi to commemorate the International Day of United Nations Peacekeepers, the visiting Sierra Leone President Julius Maada Bio commended Kenya's military for the role it played in stabilizing his nation after years of turmoil.
It was during the commemoration of the International Day of United Nations Peacekeepers, set aside to pay tribute to the uniformed and civilian personnel for their contribution to global peace and stability, that the visiting Sierra Leone President Julius Maada Bio hailed the Kenyan forces for the peace and stability his country is enjoying now.
People talk about Opande. I didn't do it, alone. These are the people who made it happen.
Speaking at the International Peace Support Training Center at Embakasi in Nairobi, Maada commended the role Kenya played, saying forever his nation will be indebted to this country for coming to its rescue when hope had faded.
If Sierra Leone today has transitioned out of the United Nations peace-building framework and become the fourth most peaceful democracy in Africa, it is because of the contributions and immense sacrifices of your brave soldiers, officers and men. Thank you to the commanders, officers, men and women of Kembat contingent deployed in Sierra Leone.
The Sierra Leone president remembering 4 Kenyans who lost their lives while on deployment to restore peace in his country in 2000.
To the fallen in Sierra Leone, I read their names with deep sorrow but great appreciation and gratitude. Corporal Jeremiah Obaya, Corporal Evans Kamande, Private Robert Wanyama, Private Kamis Yunis.
We did not know where their bodies were. But when I met with the rebel group commander, whose rebels, killed those 4 soldiers, the first thing I asked him, Isa, I will not leave Sierra Leone without knowing where our soldiers were killed, and I want to take their bodies back home.
President Maada underscoring the power of partnerships in dealing with the challenges of our time towards a prosperous Africa.
When Africa works together, small countries and big countries, real partnerships that are long-lasting are forged.
We know that peace is won when government and society join forces to resolve differences through dialogue, build a culture of non-violence, and protect the most vulnerable.
The first UN peacekeeping mission was established in 1948, and since then, more than 1 million women and men have served in 72 UN peacekeeping operations.
Since then, Kenya has contributed over 60,000 men and women to peace support operations all over the world.
Come first, that is on Wednesday during the Madaraka celebrations. Sierra Leone President Julius Maada Bio will be one of the VIP guests to attend that particular feat. On that, we take a quick breather. We'll be right back.
Na kama hiyo ni njama ambayo mmepanga nyinyi wawili,
wewe kama umwonea imani sana, basi mtafutie sehemu nyingine ya kuishi.
Huyo msichana wako atakunyonyora wewe pa kubaki supu. Chezea msichana college wewe.
Siwezi kuwa na dada mwenye roho mbaya kama yako.
Una nia nzuri wewe.
Unajua mimi nimechoka kabisa kukuhurumia.
It's none of your business. Achana na mimi.
Tunataka nini kwangu?
Nimekuja kumwona mwanangu.
Toa hivyo vitu.
Look at how much he's changed. He really has grown into a handsome young man.
Most of the ancient gods are gone now. Only a few of them remain. But they can't help.
Once the chance presents itself for us to put Rodor on the throne, only then will we have hope to achieve true world peace.
But just listen to me. I know. You're the only girl I wish to spend my life with.
Mpambe Gibson Gadho Mbugua almaarufu prosecutor kwenye kipindi ukipendacho Vioja Mahakamani kwenye runinga ya KBC Channel 1 anaomba usaidizi wako kudhibiti gharama ya matibabu ya figo. Jamaa na marafiki wameandaa mchango mnamo tarehe 11 mwezi ujao wa 6 kwenye ukumbi wa Charter Hall, jumba la City Hall jijini Nairobi. Waweza kutuma mchango wako kwa paybill number 247247, nambari ya akaunti 777626. Gibson amekuwa mwanani wako na wangu kwa muda usiopungua miaka 40 sasa. Ni zamu yetu nasi tuwe wandani wake wakati huu mgumu.
Good morning. This is in the headlines on KBC Channel 1, and I'm Regina Manyara. Being the 30th of May 2022, we are bringing you up to speed with those stories that have been making headlines in as far as news is concerned. Now, one person died on the spot after two supporters of Rongo parliamentary aspirants clashed in Rongo town on Sunday. Now, the deceased was among aspirants slated for vetting and clearance by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, and after the exercise kicked off yesterday countrywide. Now, several aspirants have also been cleared by the electoral body. Here's just about a recap of what is happening from yesterday.
The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, was a busy entity on Sunday as it began clearing various candidates for elective positions in the August general election. The exercise, which ran concurrently nationally, is expected to end on the 7th of June as per the IEBC election calendar. The exercise began on a rather sad note after a parliamentary aspirant was killed in Rongo, Migori County. According to Migori County Police Commander Mark Wanjala, the deceased was hit by a double-cabin vehicle allegedly belonging to their opponent. The two aspirants are reported to have been slaughtered for vetting by IEBC today.
Migori County hatutaki maneno ya vita, mambo ya watu kupigana, vijana na organize kuretaliate, hatutaki. Na security committees will be out wakiita all aspirants wale wanaleta vujo na tuna inform IBC na wengine wanaweza kuwa disqualified kukosa kuendelea.
In Nairobi's Westland constituency, the incumbent Timothy Wanyonyi was given a green light to defend his seat. Others who are clear to vie for the seat are Sylvia Mulama of ANC ticket and UDA's Nelson Harvey, with over 10 contestants eyeing the seat. However, the exercise was marred by a system failure until later in the evening.
Nataka kujua level ya preparedness ya IEBC kwa namna gani. Hii ni dalili ya kuonyesha kwamba they are not ready.
Now we are going to work hard on the ground to preach the gospel of my agenda to the people of Westlands, and most importantly to resonate with them and to assure them that my representation as a member of parliament come 9th of August will be very smooth, will be different, and will be changing the dimension of Westlands to a better stage.
Several candidates have been cleared by IEBC to contest for the Machakos senatorial seat. They include incumbent Machakos Senator Agnes Kavindu of Wiper Party, former County Speaker Bernard Mungato of Maendeleo Chapchap, and John Mutua Katuko of the People's Trust Party. In Makueni County, the current Member of Parliament Dan Maanzo has been cleared to run for the county's senatorial seat.
Can we classify for Senate seat Elgeyo Marakwet?
And Elgeyo Marakwet Governor Alex Tolgos has exuded confidence of bagging the county's senatorial seat. The second-time governor was cleared by IEBC to run for the senatorial position in the coming elections. And a number of independent candidates in Mombasa have expressed their reservation with the strict conditions set by the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission to get clearance, as the commission on Sunday began a countrywide clearance of aspirants vying in the August election. Elsewhere in Kajiado County, Kajiado North Member of Parliament Joseph Manje has called on leaders to avoid politics of incitement, given that the county is cosmopolitan.
Na wale wanafanya siasa, wale wanakuja kufanya siasa, especially my constituency Kajiado North, hapa tunapenda watu wote, hatutaki tribal politics, hatutaki watu wa kutukana watu wengine.
And in Kiambu County, Governor James Nyoro has called upon his competitors, whom he alleges are hiring goons, to vandalize banners and posters of their opponents, to stop thuggish campaigns and instead conduct and sell their ideas to people.
We need to sell our ideas to the people in a very conducive way so that the people can make informed decisions.
Now, still keeping up with matters politics, just in case you're wondering what happens to Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka. Now, he has a date with the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission on the registration of his presidential candidature on Saturday, the 4th of June. Now, IEBC has scheduled registration for 18 other presidential candidates between May 29th all the way to 6th of June, being the deadline that that's the 6th it will be done. So here it is, that report by Irene Mchuma Odem.
The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC has confirmed that Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka will be in the ballot for presidency in the August polls. IEBC says Kalonzo will be in the registration exercise after successfully complying with requirements needed. Wiper Party, through its National Elections Board chairperson Agatha Solitei, says the needed documents indicating at least 2,000 signatures of Kalonzo supporters were presented to IEBC for 33 counties against the required 24 counties on the 25th of May 2022 on hard and soft copies as specified by the IEBC in their letter dated 19th May 2022. The Wiper Party says its leader, Kalonzo Musyoka, has complied with the presidential candidate's requirements as per the IEBC regulations. Solitei says the requirements were further clarified by IEBC through their letter dated 28th May 2022, which stated that the electronic signatures by Wiper Party leader should be submitted by 29th May 2022.
Now, leaving those issues in regard to matters of politics, remember further details are still available on the website. That is www.kbc.co.ke. We want to cross over to matters sports, and quite the weekend there for soccer lovers, as well as, you know, our Kenyan team there. Now we start off with matters of rugby there, where the Kenya national rugby sevens team again lost to Japan 14-5 in the 13th place semi-final, ending her campaign at the London leg of the HSBC Sevens World Series without winning a single match. It was the 5th straight loss for Kenya in London after losing all 3 pool matches and the 9th place quarter-final. Kenya began the London League with a 17-14 loss to Ireland before suffering a 26-0 loss to Argentina. Shujaa then went down 24-21 to South Africa before being relegated to the 9th place quarter-final, where they lost 31-0 to France. After London, Kenyan team will return home to prepare for the final leg of the season to be held in Los Angeles in August.
Wale. Here's more good feet and pace. Kenya looking to make a game of this one, and they are going to. And it is that man again, Nelson Oyu, who has run clear. The Kenyan captain has put them right back in this match.
So let's go check the foundations of the North Stand. They've been tested. Oyu starts this run 60 metres from his try line, which gives plenty of time as his camera pans left to see the eruptions of the top left off shot.
Bushimwale made his debut 2014 on the Gold Coast, the old Gold Coast Sevens in Australia. France, though, looking for their first try in this match. Nelson Epe will finish in the corner.
Well, I'm glad we get a chance to talk about this guy. Just 3 tries here in London. Did expect more from him. He's a very special player. The pictures, the Kenyan defence are showing the French just too easy. Riva takes that space, and as soon as an adjustment, 2 defenders have to step in. The French are known for their very enterprising attack off first phase, and Grandidier, how about that one? Nice little roll over the top. Lovely ball. Epe grimacing, but he knows where the line is.
Well, we may have lost a win as far as the HSBC World Rugby Series is concerned, but rugby fans were treated to quite the weekend. As you know, the games went on. We have the Christie Sevens that were underway, and if you want to get the timetable of the local rugby matches that are going to be played here in the country, well, you can get this on our website. Now to good news is that Faith Kipyegon once again proved her dominance in the 1500 meters as she stormed to victory at the third leg of the Diamond League meeting in Eugene. Now Eugene Kipyegon clocked 3 minutes 52.59 seconds to win the race that saw Laura Muir of Great Britain finish in the 11th position.
The track, and when she goes to that place,
Faith Kipyegon clocked 3 minutes 52.59 seconds to once again win the 1500 meters at the Eugene Diamond League, the third stop of the Diamond League series.
Has broken 4 minutes at 1500 meters so far in 2022, and she's going to destroy.
Kipyegon finished ahead of Gudaf Tsegay of Ethiopia, who was second, while Gabriella Stafford of Canada came third. Richard Yator finished 10th in the men's 5,000 meters that was dominated by Berihu Aregawi, who finished way ahead of the rest. Ethiopian Berihu clocked 12 minutes 50.05 seconds to win the race ahead of compatriots Samuel Tefera and Solomon Barrega, who were second and third respectively. Olympic 100 meters champion Thompson Hera soared to victory in a loaded women's 100 meters after clocking 10.79 seconds, holding off American Sha'Carri Richardson as well as Jamaican teammate Sherika Jackson. US Trayvon Bromwell won the men's 100 meters as he clocked a 9.93 seconds ahead of Fred Curley, who came second in 9.9 seconds, while Christian Coleman finished third at 10.04 seconds. In the men's 1 mile race, Norwegian Olympic champion Jakob Ingebrigtsen led the pack with a worldly time of 3 minutes 49.76 seconds, nearly a second faster than US Oliver Hoare, who clocked 3 minutes 50.65 seconds, and Kenyan Timothy Cheruiyot, who came third with his season best time of 3 minutes 50.77 seconds.
Indeed, that is something to celebrate. And like what happened to Liverpool fans on Saturday there after they lost to Real Madrid, where Real Madrid scored a singular goal against Liverpool to carry the cup. And as far as the Champions League is concerned, this is the 14th time that Real Madrid has won this particular feat. Further details are available on our website. Now we take a quick breather and have a sneak peek into what is happening on our major roads this Monday morning. And speaking of what is happening on our major roads this morning, Likoni Road is our focus. This is actually one of those roads whereby there's been a lot of activities, just also informing what Kura has been doing here and there, particularly also with some closure of sections of that road to ensure that there's proper expansion as well as the non-motorized transport system also just being put in place. So we want to look at how the road is looking like this morning, at least in terms of traffic, and perhaps you can begin from the southern bypass. That is just as you leave Mombasa Road, actually on that exit as you enter into Likoni Road. This is around the Airtel Center. This is how the road is looking like this morning. Not so bad at all. In fact, on both stretches, or better still on both sections of this entire road, looks like there's barely any kind of traffic there, moving at a swift pace. This is being witnessed as you leave areas of Jogoo Road, coming all the way to the city center via Likoni Road, as also as you get to areas around Mombasa Road, and also as you leave areas along Mombasa Road as well as CBD, coming through Likoni Road there as you head over to areas around South B, areas around Jogoo Road, as well as Enterprise Road. In fact, on that section in between the bypass all the way to the Likoni Enterprise Road, this is the first roundabout that you get to meet around that section. All through this entire side, or better still, all through this entire section on both lanes of Likoni Road, moving at a swift pace, no traffic at all. So for viewers perhaps living areas of Mombasa Road, you can still use this as the alternative route, and also those living areas of Enterprise as well as South B. This could still be a very, very good route for you. But traffic begins to just slightly build up around that roundabout. This is around the Enterprise roundabout. Again, this is just one of those areas that really stayed quite a long time before the entire process was complete in terms of construction. I'm talking about that overpass that took about 7 years for that construction to come to complete. So part of why that was put up, or better still erected, was just to ensure there is traffic congestion around areas of Likoni, South B there, as well as section of Mombasa Road, and also areas around Enterprise Road. This is one of those busy areas, given the fact that quite a number of businesses, industries and companies are usually stationed along this area. So this is part of also what has informed that expansion process that you've been seeing along this route, and also part of what is still informing the non-motorized transport system, which is still slowly taking shape. In fact, just as you leave the bypass, going all the way to Jogoo Road there through this route. So this is how the area is looking like around the roundabout. Nothing is changing there. Traffic still is being witnessed there. On some sections, though, moving at a very, very slow pace. That's why you're seeing that red color, which is a clear indicator of that. On some sections, traffic, yes, has begun to slightly build up, but at least manageable kind of traffic. And that's why you're seeing the difference in color. The intensity is what just informs basically what I'm talking about there, in terms of some sections moving at a slow pace, and in other sections, much as the traffic, at least it is a manageable kind of traffic. Away from the Likoni Enterprise roundabout, just as you head over to the other roundabout there before you get to Jogoo Road, that is the House of Manji. Again, through that entire section, moving at a very swift pace, no traffic at all. And again, this is also on both lanes of Likoni Road. So simply also what that means is that as you leave areas of Donholm as well, not so bad for you if at all you're using this stretch. So also, like I mentioned earlier when we began the program, is that there are some areas that have also been closed. So we will be exploring that even as we continue checking how the entire section of Likoni Road will be looking like this Monday morning in terms of traffic.
All right, let's now move on to the next segment. We get to have a quick look at what the papers have for us today. I have a copy of the Daily Nation. I start you off with what has been featured here. Again, stories concerning fraud happening using SIM cards that have been swapped. Another story has been featured today, and this is the story of one Mr. Bashir, aged 58, who has lost a collective 2.6 million Kenya shillings over a span of 3 days from his mobile wallet as well as his dollar bank accounts. That is a story that happened earlier on in the year, rather, but has only recently been concluded. So far, he has only recovered 500,000 and 1.5 million imepotea tu hivyo. Why? somebody swapped his SIM card. I'll be giving you the details of that story in just a bit. The other story is in regards to struggling traders who can't pay loans worth 100 billion Kenya shillings due to the COVID-19 aftermath effects. This is a concern that was pointed out by the Central Bank of Kenya, and especially so in specific parts of the economy which include trade, real estate, manufacturing, as well as personal and household. These are the categories of the economy that haven't really been able to recover from the pandemic and have defaulted on so many of their loans, the obligations towards these loans. And this is a point of concern, and especially looking at where we are headed as a country, given this is a political year. Away from that, the main read on the front page of the Daily Nation: money, food, and peace. What this election is all about. So here they go on to say that in every election, there's always a question, and this year it is no different. And this year, most of the people, according to a survey that was conducted, I think a month back, 64% of Kenyans cited, or rather felt that the country is headed in the wrong direction due to the fact that there is the high cost of living. Unemployment is also a big problem, corruption, as well as insecurity. And if these matters are not addressed by the politicians that are campaigning this year, then we are definitely still going to be going down that wrong direction as a country. I'll be giving you the details as per how this story has been captured, and especially so looking at the campaigning points of the presidential aspirants. Finally, Ruto to kill CBC in a raft of anti-Uhuru reforms. That is what this caption reads here. Looking at what they go on to say is that the deputy has vowed to roll back many of his own government's projects, including moving the inland container depot that is in Naivasha back to Mombasa. He also said that he will revise the CBC curriculum to remodel the management equipment service health project, as well as halting the bailing out of struggling state corporations and companies. And also a story that has been linked to UDA and the deputy president is the defecting of one of his most recent party members. That was actually the party vice chairman, Kipruto Kirwa, after he defected to the Azimio coalition. This and much more will be coming up in just a bit. Victor.
All right, so may the campaigns now begin. That's the message that is from the IBC. Of course, it began yesterday, 29th of May, and now the official campaign period is on. On the front page of the Star, truth moment as IBC officers clear hopefuls. Clearance is essential if aspirants want to run in election. And any skeletons? Nominees must meet legal and ethical requirements. We will be having that discussion briefly with our analyst here in studio. Eyes on Kalonzo as IEBC set date to clear him for presidential run. The Electoral Commission has set a date with Wiper boss Kalonzo Musyoka to formally register him as a presidential candidate, further fueling confusion about his political plans. More details again we'll be getting from Kevin Katisia, who is also in the Kalonzo. In 11 million shillings ghost school funding faces graft charges. This as clerical officers at the Education Ministry, who is accused of creating a non-existent school and channeling 11 million shillings to his account, could be charged with corruption. That's according to anti-graft detectives who have so far asked the DPP to charge Joshua Momanyi Ocharo. All right. So I will transform Kenya in just one term, says Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga was speaking in Bungoma, where he said that he would need just one term to transform Kenya, even as he promised to revive the tobacco industry if elected. Raila, who has pitched camp in the western region for the last 5 days, asked the electorate to vote him to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta. Soccer fan dies after alleged attack by bouncers in Kilifi. That is according to The report here, 30-year-old one gentleman called Faisal Bushuti arrived at Lexo Lounge around midnight to watch the UEFA Champions League finals between Liverpool and Real Madrid, and he was denied access by the bouncers, and there where the scuffle ensued, and you can take a look at that story. Such a sad moment. All right, truth moment for aspirants is IBC begins clearance. The next 8 days will be a do or die for aspirants as the electoral agency begins clearing them to run in the August 9th polls. Yesterday, Justice and Freedom Party presidential candidate Justice Juma and his running mate, that is Anne Wavinya, failed to meet the threshold of 48,000 supporters. Chebukati gave him until June 2nd to get the required documents and reapply for fresh clearance. It will also allow them to officially hit the campaign's trail ahead of the election that is now only 70 days away. We'll be discussing this and more in the next hour during our discussion. So let me just give you a rundown. IBC program for some of the presidential candidates. On 4th of June, we have got Deputy President William Ruto, Kalonzo Musyoka on 4th of June. Raila Odinga will be there on 5th of June. Uhuru Aukot on the same day as well, 5th of June. Jimmy Wanjigi will join IBC on 6th of June. And lastly, Jeru Gathangu will be the last person on 6th of June. That is happening. Eyes on Wiper. Boss Kalonzo Musyoka as IBC books him a date that again we'll be discussing in the next hour. Regina.
Now, family said that yes, it's all about system failure, IBC. That is IBC system failure, jolt aspirants vetting. This is a concern that was raised by the aspirants there who noted up to 3 hours delay in their vetting there and validation of their documents. An exercise that began yesterday, being May the 29th, that is going to run up until the 6th of June. And Victor there has rightfully put it there and given us, important dates that we need to look out for, especially the question of whether Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka is going to be at the ballot in as far as matters of presidential candidates are concerned. Well, it's been confirmed now. Let's wait and see. 4th is the date Kalonzo Musyoka has with the IEBs. That is what has been captured here on the front page. And it all talks about lengthy hours across the country as technical delays marred the start of the clearance of aspirants by the Electoral Commission, prompting fears that the crucial exercise would spill past the gazetted June 7th deadline. And I want to quote Geshogo parliamentary aspirant Njage Makanga, who said, if this is taking too long for a candidate to be cleared, what about the election? That's a concern that was raised by the aspirants there from yesterday. And this is a continuous exercise up until the 6th of June, with the deadline that has already been gazetted being June 7th. Top gamblers. Will it work this time? This is picking up at leaders who have already chosen their candidates, and they have basically left everything else and focused on these particular campaigns. If their person or their choice gets the top seat, indeed, and then we're likely to see them in government. But what if their candidate does not carry the day? That is a story here. Top gamblers. Will it work this time? Some of the names that have been splashed on this front page, we have none other than Musalia Mudavadi of ANC, Hassan Joho, Mombasa Governor, Sabina Chege, Muranga Woman Representative, Rigathi Gachagua, Madira MP, and Wycliffe Oparanya of Kakamega, that is Kakamega government there. So we all know their stories there. Let's start off with Wycliffe Oparanya. This was the second time he could not run for a re-election as governor of Kakamega, and he has been at the side of Raila Odinga for eons now, and his dedication has not waned to a point that when Azimio flag bearer there, Raila Odinga, was unveiling his deputy running mate, he also gave us a sneak peek into his would-be cabinet if he carried the day on August 9th. And Wycliffe Oparanya is likely going to be the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary if indeed Azimio carry the day. We also have Rigathi Gachagua, who is the deputy, who is the running mate under the Kenya Kwanza team there. We have Sabina Chege there, who even wanted who was eyeing the deputy, or rather the running mate under Azimio. We know her having even had a stint right here in this particular setup here as far as KBC is concerned. She's rose through the ranks, and we have seen her efforts in as far as matters education are concerned. Hassan Joho, Mombasa governor, there even gave his speech there saying that he did not know that Raila would consider him and give him that position if indeed that goes through and Azimio carry the day. We might as well be looking at the new Lands Cabinet Secretary, that is Hassan Joho. Musalia Mudavadi, on the other hand, has thrown his die behind Deputy President William Ruto with the Luhya factor and his experience in politics. One would wonder, what if it doesn't go his way and his candidate doesn't carry the day? What happens? So this is a story that has been fleshed out for you in this particular daily. You might want to have a copy of it with just 71 days to the D-Day. Remember, IEBC is still registering voters locally. It's not the mass registration, but it's an ongoing process. So if you haven't, kindly do so. We also have a story of human interest here, where you are not the father of the child. This is an ex-husband who was told is that a man opposes a bid by former lover who wants a court order on a DNA test to prove he's not the father of the 10-year-old child. All these details are available in this particular copy. Remember, we also have updates on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. We are streaming live, and thank you very much. And this is not done and dusted. We have a candid conversation coming up in as far as matters politics are concerned with Victor Olo. I'm Regina Manyara. I wish you a pleasant day ahead and great viewing.
Look at how much he's changed. He really has grown into a handsome young man.
Most of the ancient gods are gone now. Only a few of them remain. But they can't help.
Once the chance presents itself for us to put Rodor on the throne, only then will we have hope to achieve true world peace.
But just listen to me. I know you're the only girl I wish to spend my life with.
Wamama wamesema ndio, vijana wamekubali, wanasema enda. Imetoka na kitu.
Mtu wangapi? 200. Nusu. Utanikupatia pesa ati nikiangalia huko. Ni nini natendeka?
Wewe nijatea mimi.
Mimi niko naona ninakuuliza ni nini natendeka?
Nimesema hizo pesa silipi. Ninasema silipi.
Wewe bwana, huu ni mheshimiwa bwana, acha kuweka hiki.
For both of us, this little boy is going to give us a new beginning in our marriage.
You two are going to be my successors.
They'll be the ones to preserve his surname, and not us.
He has every right to know that you're having his baby. You have to go and tell him.
Your father gave them his surname. They're as much a Murat as you.
I don't believe that.
And besides, it's not up to you to choose what your father does or what he does with his money.
Well, we'll have to see about that. Adrian doesn't want to be with you. And now he and I have started a relationship.
So leave and don't come looking for him again.
Welcome back, and thank you for keeping it Good Morning Kenya. We continue unpacking for you what the dailies are holding for you this Monday morning. And on the front page of the People Daily, panic as EACC targets governors' properties. This is for the current governors as well as former governors. This is now EACC that is targeting the properties of this governor, saying that they were not acquired in the right way. And this article well highlights, or better still, has put down the names of these governors, 6 of them actually, who comprise of both current and former governors. The EACC now targets the assets believed to have been corruptly acquired by these county bosses. So when we get to those details, I'll just be giving you perhaps the names of this former as well as county bosses, and perhaps also which properties the EACC is now targeting as it pertains to those county bosses. And UDA Party Vice Chair Kira, that is Kiputara Kira, now quits the Ruto camp and join Azimio la Umoja. And the question is, how or in what way perhaps might this have destabilized UDA, or better still, the Kenya Kwanza formation? What is coming out strongly is that it's just being said that the former vice chair had various concerns. Key among them was how the running mate was picked by the deputy president. This is one of those things that didn't really quite sit well with him, and largely also what informed his exit from the UDA party. So even as that is happening, Azimio Alliance now zones Nairobi in strategy to bag lion's share of the 17 parliamentary seats, as well as majority of the MCA positions in the city. This had actually been a conversation in the Azimio coalition, where they had planned to actually zone some parts of the country just to see how best they can be able to acquire, or better still get most of those seats. And it turns out that Nairobi is one of those places where zoning is going to largely take part, and the parties that are going to the fielding candidates in the Nairobi city include Jubilee, ODM, as well as Wiper Party. This is to ensure that they can be able to get the 17 National Assembly seats and also a majority of the MCA seats in Nairobi County. We also have what IEBC is currently doing as it pertains to clearing and ultimately verifying candidates. This is for various seats as well as also for that of the presidential seat, and also have that story of the duo who failed to get rookie-side signatures, and the running mate didn't get clearance from the ethics body. So I'm talking about the presidential aspirant, that is Peter Kingori, and his running mate, that is Winfred Nyang'ao, who didn't quite meet some of those requirements that IEBC had put down, part of what informed them being disqualified from the race. And also, as I had said earlier, the number is now down from 55 to 14 candidates. Also, what is being largely looked at is whether Kalonzo Musyoka is actually going to appear before the IEBC on that date where he's been given. Part of what also IEBC had raised concerns concerning the Wiper Party leader is the fact that some of those documents that had been submitted earlier were not in the correct format. And I'm basically talking about the 48,000 signatures that the IEBC had said were not in the correct format, and so IEBC gave Kalonzo Musyoka, or the better still the Wiper Party leader, a lifeline to see how best he's going to correct that. And now the question that is now underlining is if at all he actually goes ahead and correct what IEBC had raised as concern, and he goes all the way to that process of verification whereby he actually would perhaps be on the ballot on August 9th. What does this mean for the Wiper Party members and largely his Ukambani backyard, given the fact that a good number of them are now urging him to go back to the Azimio fold? Well, they say if you can't beat them, join them. If you can't join them, you might just as well confuse them. All eyes are now on Kalonzo Musyoka in respect to that. And lastly, fees shocker as pupils return to school today. This is after that short midterm break. And what parents are just crying off is the cost that now has been imposed to them by the various schools. This article has put in place the different schools and what parents need to pay even as students go back to school. This is in extra of computer lessons, new building, as well as old debts, part of what parents need to pay even as children go back to school. Jane.
Let me now bring you back to the Daily Nation, and we can look at some of the political stories and articles that have been featured here. We start with this piece here where the DP criticizes the government for delaying payments to the elderly, part of his campaign points. Here they go on to say that Karua won't win you Mount Kenya votes, Ruto tells Raila. So according to the Deputy President, William Ruto, he stormed Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition's running mate, Martha Karua, saying and rather dismissing the possibility of her actually securing a huge Mount Kenya vote for Raila Odinga. And this is in a move to counter her influence in Kirinyaga, as per what this article says. Dr. Ruto hit out at Ms. Karua and Odinga, accusing them of being ignorant of the challenges that Kenyans are facing. He went on to say, and has been quoted here, even if Odinga clings to Karua, he will not get votes from the area. Raila should be prepared to go home and rest. All right. The DP also took issue with Mr. Odinga's promise to tackle ignorance should he take power, and actually accused Mr. Odinga of ignorance. He went on to say that he promised that his government will create employment and resuscitate the economy through his bottom-up economic model. All right. On the other hand, still featuring the Deputy President, a blow to his UDA party as one of his top officials joined the Raila camp. So yesterday, the Kenya Kwanza coalition took a hit after UDA Vice Chairman Kipruto Kira threw his weight behind Raila Odinga for his State House bid. And so far since February, the DP has lost over 5 members of parliament and 2 party officials to his rival in this year's elections. So the first official that actually left the UDA team was the National Treasurer, Omingo Magara. And according to Mr. Kira, he said that the appointment of Rigathi Gachagua as the running mate for Deputy President William Ruto is a clear indication that Kenya Kwanza was not promoting democracy but stifling it by having chosen Rigathi as the running mate. And that is one of the reasons as to why he chose to throw his weight behind the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance party flag bearer Raila Odinga. The other stories in regards to pitting the Deputy President and Raila Odinga and looking at their points of campaign during this particular election. And this story has been pegged on the concerns that Kenyans have in regards to the direction that the country is headed, because again, this is derived from a poll that was conducted a few weeks back where 64% of Kenyans said that the country is headed in the wrong direction, citing poor governance, bad politics, rampant corruption, unemployment, poverty, insecurity, and crime as the biggest contributors to these feelings. And the same issues are what are being used by the 2 top presidential aspirants in their campaign as part of their campaign tools. So that is a story that has been featured here. You can go ahead and have a quick look as you also get to see much more other stories that have been featured on this particular daily. Victor.
Before I continue, but did you know that government said that coronavirus is still here with us and we need to be very, very vigilant?
Actually, they did point it out last week because so many people have been catching colds, and experts actually did warn that it could be a mild version of COVID.
Yeah.
Lakini pia watoto wamefungua shule.
And as of yesterday, the number had actually risen.
Nako kahoma kashule. Terrible.
Well, some were saying, you know, it's that cold season, May, June, July. But also as of yesterday, the ministry, you know, released the figures, and the number had actually gone up to over 100 persons.
Yeah. And even the president said it, by the way, that we should not lower our guns. We need to be vigilant. And I think we need to be vigilant because you don't know, it's an unseen kind of a ghost. So let's be vigilant. All right, back to the papers. Eyes on Wiper boss Kalonzo Musyoka as IBC books date with him. That I gave you. The former vice president will face the Electoral Commission on June 4th at Bomas, just trying to demystify all the rumors that he was not listed by the Electoral Commission. We have got Kevin Katisia who will be telling us more on that. On Sunday, Wiper bigwigs maintained that Kalonzo Musyoka had complied with IBC requirements, signaling that he could be could be determined to go all the way to the ballot. How will that pan out? Ruto criticizes, Raila pledges, says that Azimio flag bearers stuck in the past. We've seen a lot of politics, and by the way, now that the official campaign period started at the clock of midnight last night, so it's all systems go. All politicians have that legal way to go. All right, so Ruto said that ODM party leader had no idea what ails the country, going by the promises he's making in his campaign trail, and it is going to be tougher as we continue. MP's back plan to bail out quote-unquote broke varsities to help in budgeting. The crisis is attributed to lack of full implementation of new funding formula. Now, this is after members of parliament, a report by the National Assembly Budget Committee attributed the crisis to lack of full implementation of the new funding formula through the differentiated unit cost model. The government funds 40% in varsities, and the remaining 60% should be met and collected by the projects, school fees, and other internal income generating procedures by the university. And University Education PS Simon Nabukwe told the committee, just like the government is planning to save Kenya Airways, universities also need the same. A big challenge there. A big challenge there. All right. The meteorological department says that they're seeing almost no rains until August. So get ready for some hot season. Most parts will also not experience the traditional, extremely cold June, July weather. So the weatherman is giving us some light there that it's going to be a hot 3 months as we head to the election. Actually, it's always like that in every electoral cycle. August, during this particular period, is always very hot during the day, but so cold in the morning and even at night. All right, so get ready for that. However, Western and the Rift Valley highlands will experience near to above average rains, which will help crop planted in April to mature. And if you ask any farmer who is doing large scale farming, they'll tell you that the weather patterns is actually confusing them, so to speak. It's not the official, that regular period that the rain used to, it was in January until April, they harvest, and then you wait until August. All this changed, attributed to climate change. Yes, that's where we are. Let me talk about sports kidogo. So 10-man Gor Mahia edged City Stars at Kasarani. Kogalo did that. And Leopards boss pledges top 5 finish after win over Homeboys. That happened in Buhungu Stadium on Sunday in Kakamega. And of course, we will be back according to Liverpool boss Klopp, Jurgen Klopp, who said that, you know what, we are not done. We will be back. I love something about Jurgen Klopp. He's a go-getter, and the way they've played this season just tells a lot that he's a man who knows his craft pretty well. All right, that is what I had kwa habari na michezo.
Go fupi.
All right, so even as we prepare for the 59th Madaraka Day celebrations, which will happen this Wednesday, and actually the last national events that will be hosted by President Uhuru Kenyatta, there's a lot to be talked about as it pertains to the developments in our country. And there's this particular article which sort of just intertwines that with this year's Madaraka Day celebration, also talking about the Madaraka Express, the SGR that was launched in 2017. It goes ahead to highlight, 5 years later, the kind of contribution it has had actually on the country, just saying that since its launch 5 years ago, Madaraka Express has continued to register phenomenal growth in passenger numbers. And as of May 20th of this year, this just a few days ago, 7.71 million passengers had been transported since the launch of this SGR passenger service. This is after it was launched in 2017. Also continues to highlight since that year Kenya 2017, 2018, 19, 2020, as well as 2021, how the numbers have been increasing over time. This is just in respect to them reaching the 7.71 million passengers that have so far been transported by the SGR. The article also continues to highlight the fact that compared to public transport, rail has a large carrying capacity. For example, the Madaraka Express train, which can carry up to 1,678 passengers at one go. So this is just some of, the different development projects that have been done so far. Again, also as we gear up towards the Madaraka Day celebration. We can also not forget to talk about the expressway, which is again obviously one of those things that will be talked about in respect to what the government or the state has done so far, and also at least when you look at how the second term of the president has been. All right, so let's just come to some bit of politics and to the zoning bit, and also how these three parties will be able to get the different slots as we go, as we gear up towards the August 9th general election. This is in respect to the zoning that the Azimio la Umoja had talked about, where they had said that there's going to be zoning in some parts of the country just to see how they are going to garner more votes, and also how they are going to ensure that they get more seats, particularly the parliamentary seats. And so the Azimio One Kenya Alliance is now banking on zoning. This is in Nairobi to see how best they're going to win the 17 National Assembly seats, as well as the majority of the MCA seats in the city. Now, the coalition has shared these seats amongst the three major parties, so to speak, within the Azimio coalition, whereby the ODM and the Jubilee Party are slated to get 8 of these seats. So that means 8 going to ODM and 8 going to Jubilee Party, and Wiper Party getting one of those seats. This is in respect to the National Assembly seats. And what was mentioned by the ODM Secretary General, that is Edwin Sifuna, he said that this strategy was agreed on to ensure Azimio performs better in the city than rivals. I mean, this is really just quite interesting for me to see that the alliance, or better still the coalition, continues to ensure the parties within the coalition can get various seats. And just going by this particular piece shows that Wiper will also get one of those seats. I mean, given the fact that we are seeing a lot of confusion within the Wiper party, so if they're getting this seat under the Azimio coalition, what happens with the fact that we are seeing Kalonzo sort of choosing to go all the way to the ballot? I mean, Victor, as you'll be having this conversation, there's really going to be a lot that needs to perhaps be demystified there in respect to what exactly is happening within the Wiper party, and also as we wait to see whether or not the Wiper party leader is actually going to appear before IEBC on that date that IEBC has given him. I think it's actually going to be on 4th of June, whereby the verification process is going to be taking place for that particular party. So away from that, looking at the governors who are now on the EACC radar, the 6 of them, just saying that this actually 6 comprises of both current and former governors who risk losing properties valued at billions of shillings. This is as the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission now targets the assets believed to have been corruptly acquired by this county bosses. And some of the sources just talking to EACC saying that the agency was seeking to repossess properties owned by, these governors. Key among them include Murang'a governor, that is Mwangi wa Iria, his Samburu counterpart Moses Lennon Kulal, Migori governor Okoth Obado, and the two former governors, that is the Nairobi former governor, that is Mike Sonko, and also the former Nairobi governor Evans Kidero there. So far, as it pertains in terms of what the EACC has done, at least as of last week, the EACC commenced recovery proceedings against the former Kiambu governor, that is Ferdinand Waititu, whom it accused of corruptly amassing properties valued at 1.9 billion. There had also been talks and conversations surrounding the fact that whether or not these governors perhaps need to be on the ballot. And actually, when you look at a number of them, Evans Kidero, Ferdinand Waititu, as well as Mike Sonko, all of them are just trying to see if they can get another stab at various seats, particularly governor seats at the various counties, that is Mombasa, Kiambu, as well as Homa Bay. So right now it turns out they are actually on the EACC radar to see how they can repossess some of these properties that EACC says they were acquired in not the correct way. Jane.
Well, I think with that, we are at that point where we want to wrap up this segment. I believe now you can pick whichever daily resonates best with you. You can go ahead and read more of the other stories that have been captured there. But of course, politics continue to take center stage on all the dailies, and that is also what we'll be getting to in just a moment. I'm a VP Victor.
Absolutely. By the way, it was a good moment on Saturday.
I know. The air show.
The KDF air show. Gardens was full. And it came at a time that almost, schools were closed for midterm. It was a family day out. The president came driving himself in his G-Wagon.
And his guest of honor.
Yeah, and it was not the traditional day that the president had to give a speech. After that, he also left. He just came to enjoy. It was a good moment for those who actually wanted, and a motivation for those who wanted to get into the military, for those who want to be pilots, rangers, etc., etc. So that was a good one.
Those things don't only happen in movies.
No.
They also happen in real life.
We have them in real life. And here in Kenya,
yes,
jumping off planes, doing acrobats in the air, drawing love hearts.
Yeah, the paratroopers.
It's also quite interesting that what also captured the media, and particularly social media, is the fact that the president drove himself there.
Yes. Yeah. He came, drove himself, dressed in a green attire, and that was that. So yeah, we did more of that. Again, we need more of that.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. Let's say it's a wrap, but we are taking a break. When we come back, we'll be getting into the eye of politics with Kevin Katisia. Let's get into the juicy part of this discussion on what's happening on politics and what you should expect moving forward. That is coming up not too long from now. Stick around.
As campaign intensified for the upcoming general election, what does all this mean for you, the voter? What do the candidates have to offer? How prepared are agencies charged with the election process? Join John Kuria and Safina Chieng on Kenya Decides. This and every Tuesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 as we unpack elections 2022 with a panel of various stakeholders. Make informed electoral decisions.
For both of us, this little boy is going to give us a new beginning in our marriage.
You two are going to be my successors.
They'll be the ones to preserve his surname, and not us.
He has every right to know that you're having his baby. You have to go and tell him.
Your father gave them his surname. They're as much a Murat as you.
I don't believe
besides,
that.
It's not up to you to choose what your father does or what he does with his money.
Well, we'll have to see about that. Adrian doesn't want to be with you. And now he and I have started a relationship.
So leave and don't come looking for him again.
Before we get to our interactive segment, time for us to quickly look at how the roads are looking like this Monday morning at exactly 8 a.m. on the dot. Time for us to also see how Likoni Road is doing. Has anything changed on that stretch? Is it the same as how it was when we first began looking at how Likoni Road is looking like? But that this is also one of those roads whereby we've been seeing a lot of ongoing road works as well as road activities in respect to expansion and entire construction reconstruction altogether. In fact, there was a section that took an entire 7 years for it to be complete, and I'm talking about the Likoni Enterprise Overpass. So how has all this perhaps impacted traffic flow altogether? Not forgetting the fact that we still have some sections whereby construction is still underway, or better still taking shape, and I'm talking about the non-motorized transport system along this stretch. So before we get into all of that, let's just begin from the area around Likoni House of Manji. In fact, this is one of those stretches whereby for a long time it had remained closed just for the purpose of that reconstruction, or better still expansion, which also was inclusive of the recarpeting of this road, and also the non-motorized transport system, which is inclusive of pedestrian walkways as well as cyclist lanes. Part of what we've been seeing majorly on our roads in the city and even beyond. Any road that has either been earmarked for an expansion, could be reconstruction, recarpeting altogether, and motorized transport system is not missing, the pedestrian walkways as well as the cyclist lanes. Now, coming back to the traffic flow, you can remember that earlier on when we looked at how this area was looking like, at least in the first link, there was barely any kind of heavy traffic. And around this stretch, this is the Likoni House of Manji. As you head over to areas of Donholm there, sections of Embakasi, it was just moving at a very swift pace, and this was being witnessed on both lanes of Likoni Road as well as on both sections of Lunga Road. This is one of those roads that get to branch off from the major Likoni Road around the roundabout there as you head over to those areas that I've just talked about. But this is how it is looking like, at least as of now. Traffic really building up throughout this entire roundabout there, and also the stretch as you head over to Lunga Drive, as you leave areas of the Donholm roundabout, coming through this entire stretch, leaving areas of Embakasi there, coming through Lunga just before you get to Likoni Road. This is how the area is looking like. In fact, on some sections, not moving at all, just at a standstill. And clearly you can see the difference in colors there, the cocktail in colors, which is a clear indication of how traffic is flowing around this stretch. And some other areas moving at a very, very slow pace. That's why you're seeing that red color, which is a clear indicator of that heavy kind of traffic moving at a very slow pace, where you're seeing the maroon color indicating that there's really heavy kind of traffic not moving at all. And this is being witnessed as you leave those areas that I've just talked about, areas of Donholm, coming through Likoni Road via the Lunga Drive. And on the other side, as you leave the Likoni stretch, leaving Jogoo Road, coming through that entire side there, still traffic is being witnessed, but at least a manageable kind of traffic. And again, this has just changed right this very second. Around the roundabout, traffic is now being witnessed throughout the entire roundabout. The difference is in the intensity around different areas. Away from there, as you head over to Jogoo Road, one of those areas that also had remained closed for a while because of the non-motorized transport system on that section, all through there, just before you get the roundabout, again, traffic being witnessed around that stretch. But at least on that side there, not so bad, but still the traffic there is not as heavy as you would see around the Lunga stretch there. On that section, moving at a swift pace, and some other stretches there, traffic building up, and altogether still a manageable kind of traffic. So let's just quickly check out how the Jogoo Road stretch is looking like. Remember that also Likoni Road oftentimes serves as a very, very good alternative route for those leaving areas of Mombasa Road and perhaps do not want to do with the heavy kind of traffic around areas of Nyayo Stadium roundabout and also around areas of Uhuru Highway. So this is how the section is looking like just before you get to the Jogoo Road. Again, not so bad at all, moving at a very swift pace. Look at that, green all through. This is also being spotted on both lanes of this entire stretch. So clearly, again, no traffic at all. Still could serve as a very good alternative route for those coming from those areas that I've talked about, areas around Mombasa Road, and also stretches of Donholm, perhaps if you do not want to make with the heavy kind of traffic on the stretch around Lunga Road. So that is how it is looking like this morning in terms of traffic. Our focus is still keenly on what is happening along Likoni Road, and that is what you have at exactly 5 minutes past 8 a.m.
Welcome back, and now let's take a look at what's happening in our political arena. on this 30th day of May of our year, the year 2022, with just 70 days to go, 2 months to that dreaded August 9th. We've been talking about this for quite some time. Kevin Katisia, and here we are. Welcome to the program. With me is Kevin Katisia, who is an advocate of the High Court and an analyst as well. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Victor.
I hope you had a great weekend.
Yeah, a very good weekend. We enjoyed the show by the KBF.
Yeah, something that we also talked about here.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You were at Uhuru Gardens. I didn't see you.
No, I was just along the road. Then I saw the good show by our KDF soldiers.
All right.
Yes.
Nonetheless, it was a good one.
Thank you.
And we actually just encourage the government to continue doing that. Actually, in other counties as well. They can take it to Mombasa, they can take it to Nairobi, to Kisumu, all other major cities for the region, those are the different regions, to also witness what we have in our 254. All right, it's a busy moment here. If you can even take a look at what we have on our local dailies on the front page of the Standard, IBC system failure jolts aspirants vetting, on the Daily Nation, money, food and peace, what this election is all about, and on the Standard newspaper, what's there on the front page? You can just take a look and just read it.
Truth moment as IBC officers clear obfus.
Yes. So it's all about systems and election. And just to kick off, the official campaign period is here.
Yes.
It's on now.
It's on. May 29th.
May 29th. Actually, we started last night. So as we speak, it's official.
It's official now. Yes.
What should you expect?
I think we should expect vigorous campaigns by all candidates. Because first of all, even when candidates were campaigning before the official period, some of them were not even sure whether they will be on the ballot. But after somebody is officially cleared by the IBC, so now they can fully do a vigorous campaign. So we should expect a very vigorous campaign period between now and the last day, that is 6th of August. Yes.
And if you can look at what's here on the front page of Daily Nation, money, food and peace, what this election is all about. What can you read from this headline here?
I can read that these are the promises which Kenyans will be given by the politicians. Because you see, politicians look at the problems and the challenges which Kenyans face. The high cost of living, for example, which is attributed to lack of money, lack of food. People also have insecurities. So I think, and people also have the fear that with the kind of campaigns which has been happening, there could be some sort of violence after during or before the voting day. So people are looking at leaders who will ensure that there is peace even after the election. Yes.
But I think it is doable that we do some kind of we play politics full of hygiene, devoid of political violence and what have you. It's possible.
Yes, and that's how it should be. Actually, politics should be, you are a leader. You're not a goon. If you're a goon or somebody who wants to go there just to fight, I think that is not leadership. But you see, in some areas, politics is perceived to be being very aggressive, ruthless in how you do your things, but it's supposed to be smooth. You are going out there to represent your people smoothly. Do you know, Victor, in war, those people who use a lot of force and violence, they may end up losing, but there are those who softly and smoothly strategize. And they win the war. So I think it's high time for the Kenyan politics to change and maybe kind of politics whereby you sell your policies to the people. Like, for example, now with the issues we are facing, how will you lower the cost of living, for example? How will you ensure that there is peace in our country? Ethnicity is a key thing in our country. We need leaders who are able to unite our people. Our tribal diversity is a blessing, but also if we don't use the blessing well,
it can get against us.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And by the way, it's just 71 days to go, and just to also urge every citizen that our work here at the Broadcasting House is to give the best out of this. It's quite disheartening each and every time we report violence, 2 people killed, 3 people, violence, destruction of property and what have you. We have come a long way and we can't manage to go back there. To the politicians, sell your manifesto, sell your agenda, and it will be all good. Now, IBC is busy. That's starting over the weekend. IBC is busy, and most of the aspirants from the, from the county levels to the Bomas of Kenya, they are vetting, and each and every aspirant must submit the required documents. But we are seeing that certain people are not getting it right.
Yeah, that's true. And some of them are very disorganized. Like you see, these documents are usually very clear. If it is your ID, for example, these other clearance certificates from EACC, good conduct. No, these things are clearly listed. Yeah, when somebody goes, like I read of an MP in Uhuru who went there and he said, "Oh, I forgot my ACC certificate at home. Let me rush for it." I think, and he was given hours, told if you're not back by 1 hour, we'll lock you out. So I think people must, by the time you go for clearance, make sure your house is in order. Yeah, the presidential candidate went to Bomas yesterday, and he has only 65 signatures, and he said, no, the others are somewhere. Yeah, I think it's a matter of being orderly and organized, because if you look at this timetable which has been given by ABC, it is very tight timetable. It has to be followed, because between
up to 6th of June, because they have a deadline as well.
Because Victor, there are so many aspirants, so many candidates who needs to be cleared. Between now and 6th of June is a very short period. Even for presidential candidates, there are so many. Even though they have been reduced to, now is it 17 or 18 thereabout, even though they have been reduced, still vetting all of them and declaring them is not easy. That's why you've seen IBC have given a timetable which must be strictly followed. So I think all the candidates who wants to be cleared by IBC must sit down and organize themselves. You look at a deputy presidential aspirant going without signing the ethics code of ethics, without even all the necessary documents. You wonder, if you're not organized at this level, how will you be able to organize yourself once you're elected? Yes.
And it's I think it's this particular time that IEBC, led by Wafula Chebukati, must prove their worth and might prove their salt, because they have been called names. They have to redeem themselves from the ruins of 2017 and here we are. Do you think Chebukati and his team are up to the task?
In my opinion, having seen Chebukati conducting the 2017 general election, we know how tough it was. But after that, though the results were contested, but you could not point fingers at them. Despite people trying to say, oh, this and this happened, but you could not point fingers at them. In my opinion, Chebukati being my senior in the profession, I think he is up to the task. And we have seen he has been very fair. He has always been very sober. His team is organized, apart from a few challenges which are expected in a public office. Like, for example, Victor, when you talk of, you heard the other time, I think 2 weeks ago, when Chiloba was now raising figures at IBC, saying, the issue of the data, the internet, the network coverage is the duty of IBC. IBC is telling them, no, CA, Communication Authority of Kenya, you have the duty of ensuring that we have enough data coverage as you conduct the elections. And you have seen the same happened yesterday, where a center, an IBC office, there's no network coverage. And people had to wait for more than 3 hours to be cleared, because for you to be cleared, they have to look at the system. Because with the issue with the technology, Victor, believe you me, there must be data for ABC to do its work. So as a body, and of course it's a public body, it needs support from other related public bodies. And the Communication Authority of Kenya is very key. But when it comes to transparency and fair administrative action, I think they are fair. Even with the story which was being aired by Citizen TV on the issue of Wiper, for example, you could see that was an administrative issue, and IBC and Chebukati and his team were very sober, and they dealt with it in a very sober manner. Even the presidential candidates who went to Bomas yesterday, they were even told by Chebukati, I give you time. by 2nd of June, bring this document. Because no, some of these things are administrative.
Right.
Article 88 of the Constitution, even the Elections Act, gives the IBC the power, the mandate. It is their discretion. So if you expect maybe, for example, IBC to play politics, because some people are expecting IBC to play politics. But from where I sit, I think they have been good referees.
Right.
And if they maintain that level of fairness, I think Kenyans will get a credible election.
And when you talk of timelines and the deadlines, IBC, as Chebukati said, that for them, it's all about the law. And Chebukati is a senior counsel. And he is bound by the same law that he's practicing. To make sure that he follows. Because one thing, just you miss one stuff in one point in election. I'm so sure he's not willing to go back to where he was because of the way election was conducted. The procedure and the process was not credible in 2017. But then, Kalonzo Musyoka was given another date. He's supposed to appear before IEBC again. Would you please just clear the air, because the initial report was that he was not listed by IEBC to run for presidency, but now, as it stands, given another date by IEBC would signal that he's still actively involved in the process.
Yes, you know, Victor, some media houses, without pointing figures, they are blowing some issues out of proportion. Like, for example, the two candidates who went to Bomas yesterday.
Yes.
Even one of them confessed by saying he had not submitted the soft copy as required. He said that. And he was given time to take the soft copy. Did you see any media house saying, oh, the so-and-so has been blocked? Because the two of them had not submitted the required documents, the signatures. The signatures were supposed to be submitted by Thursday last week.
Right.
But they had not. But now, because what I appreciate in the presidential race is on the top three. Those who are in the race in the top three. So that's why we also expect people to be concerned about his candidature. And on the issue of him being blocked, I think that was not the case.
That was not the case.
Because...
And the case here is, I'm told that we need to take a break.
Pardon?
The case here is we need to take a break. And when we come back, you're still going to pick it from that particular point, and you're going to submit your case.
Thank you.
Or execute your case, as you put it.
Submit. Thank you.
We'll be right back after this.
Okay.
On this exciting episode of The Process, we take you behind the scenes to witness the fertilizer making process. Fertilizer has been an age-long product, mainly from natural organic material like manure compost or other animal and plant products.
And what we realize is that, unfortunately, the traditional methods of using fertilizer have been not as great as it was.
With the advancement of technology, farmers now have embraced inorganic fertilizer that is made up of chemical components that contain necessary nutrients.
Blended fertilizer, specialized fertilizer, which is crop-specific and soil-specific. If you're growing, for instance, potatoes or coffee or tea, a blend specifically for that crop. So, which is really the latest type of technology that has come into this country.
But how exactly is fertilizer made? The fertilizer making process begins when the raw materials arrive at the factory warehouse.
We have different raw materials. We have the likes of urea, the likes of DAP, diammonium phosphate. We have the likes of SOP, the likes of MOP and filler. Filler is the lime. So when the raw materials comes, we load them in the loader.
that is attached to a forklift for ease of transport of the materials for the next phase of the process.
This machine, we have 5 hoppers, main hoppers, the hoppers we use. So these 5 hoppers, we have 5 different raw materials.
Hoppers are the machines that are used in the mixing process. The hoppers each have load cells that detect and calculate the quantity of the raw material that has been poured in.
The hoppers open according to the percentage required, and it's very accurate. If we need 30 kilograms of ammonium sulfate, we add 30 kilograms of urea, we add 15 kilograms of DAP, it opens correctly according to the percentage.
Once the raw material has been poured and mixed in, we head to the control room to initiate the mixing process.
We are in the control room. This is where we operate the machine.
Here, each fertilizer recipe is fed into the machine with attention to specific details tailor-made for the different types of soil.
The creation of recipes depends with the pH soil for the customer. The customer, for example, from Laikipia County, the pH soil for Laikipia County is not the same as the one in Nakuru County. So we create the recipe according to the soil pH.
Once that is done, the operator starts the machine that grinds the raw materials. Next, the mixture is discharged onto the conveyor belt. The conveyor belt then ferries the product to the bagging section of the factory.
Here is where we do the bagging. So the bagging system is having sensors. We have low-level sensor and high-level sensor. This helps in reducing overflow for the bagging unit, so that we cannot have spillage. Yeah?
At the packing section, the machine automatically weighs and pours the fertilizer into bags that are manually fixed onto the machine.
It's set. For example, you are doing the 50 kg bags, the 25 kg bags, and the 10 kg bags. So for the 50 kg bags, they start bagging.
The bags are then filled up with fertilizer and moved directly to the threading section for sealing.
And it's then carried by this belt, the conveyor belt, and then the guys at the end, they pack it in the pallet.
From here, they are ferried to transport to be deployed to the market. Reporting for KBC from Industrial Area in Nairobi County, I'm Nisi Imano.
Welcome back. Now let's continue with our discussion here. We are talking about the issue of IEBC and matters aspirants. And Kevin, you are just submitting your case.
Yes.
You may continue.
Thank you, Victor. On the issue of Wiper,
right,
and whether the Wiper presidential candidate, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, was blocked or not, I think that was an issue which was blown out of proportion by some media houses.
What really happened?
Because what happened, you know, when candidates were submitting their documents, signatures to be specific, and there was a format which was now communicated to the candidates.
Yes.
When they met on Monday last week, during the meeting between the IBC commissioners and the presidential candidates. Then they were told to submit their documents in a certain format. So now when Wiper was submitting their documents on Thursday, as informed, told by IBC, some of the documents, the electronic documents, the list of the supporters, they were supposed to be in Excel, but now they submitted in PDF. Yeah. And now after that list was out, they were told they were even given a letter by IBC chair and told, please communicate the documents in the correct format by 29th of May, 9 a.m. That was yesterday.
That was yesterday.
Yes. Yeah. You see now, they have been given a communication to comply, And now there is a media house saying, Wiper has been blocked, Kalonzo Musyoka has been blocked. And as far as IBC is concerned, they were communicating with the party officials. And by, I think, 28th, that is Saturday, they were able to comply. I actually saw a write-up by the party's National Elections Board chairperson confirming that they had indeed complied with the requirements by IBC. And that's why you have seen, Victor, even Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka has been given a date with IBC. That is 4th of June at 2 p.m. So I think the issue of clearance of candidates is an issue which should not be politicized so much. Because IBC, and that's why I've told you I have a lot of faith with IBC, because IBC is an independent commission and they are doing their duty independently, without any compromise, without any influence by any other external forces. Because sometimes when you are conducting your duty, you may be influenced by public opinion. But here is a body which is saying, no, we will only be guided by the provisions of the Elections Act and the provisions of the Constitution. Even remember, Victor, when the Register of Political Parties wrote to the IBC advising them not to clear Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka. What did IBC say? They told them, as a commission, as established under Article 88 of the Constitution, we will only be guided by the provisions of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and the provisions of the Elections Act. And if you look at even the requirements which are being given, and Article 1 for presidential candidates, Article 137 of the Constitution is very clear. The requirements, Victor, are there. Citizen by birth, qualified to stand as an MP. All those requirements are there. So the IBC is looking at the requirements in law. But I've seen other media houses and actually some papers, I think I saw in the Star, where they are saying even the issue of impeachment is an issue. We should be used by IBC in clearing candidates. That is not an issue.
Actually,
Victor,
let me just read that part.
Yes.
IEB says that presidential and governor aspirants and their running mate must submit certified copies of educational qualifications, original statutory declaration forms, a self-declaration form, a duly signed and dated code of conduct, and a copy of ID or passport on the commission. And it continues to say that they must meet the moral and ethical requirements under Leadership and Integrity Act, as well as must not have been impeached from a political office and must be of sound mind and not bankrupt.
Victor, the issue of impeachment, where have you seen it in the Constitution? Or in any act, the Elections Act. Okay, I agree that any leader who has been impeached or maybe has been removed from office due to misconduct, under the law, they're not supposed to hold any public or state office. That is true. But also in the same Constitution, if somebody has appealed and their case is ongoing, then you can't tell those people that you are impeached. You can't vie. Somebody is given a chance to exhaust the available legal channels which are there for him. So if, for example, you have seen the case of Governor Sonko, for example, and I think there are so many cases which have been filed.
Which we shall come to, because I want to talk about the issue of integrity and ethical issue here. But then, just to clear the air on the issue of Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, so Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is good to go.
Yes, he is good to go, Victor. And I will repeat this and say that there is no legal obstacle preventing him from vying as a presidential candidate in this country. People are mistaken. They think that by the fact that his party Wiper is a member of Azimio, then he can't vie. If you look at the Elections Act, if you look at the Political Parties Act, and even the Constitution of Kenya 2010, there is no provision which says that if a party joins a particular coalition, then they can't field a candidate. Remember, Victor, a coalition party is established by Section 10 of the Political Parties Act and also the third schedule of the Political Parties Act, is a legal entity on its own. It can produce candidates on its own. We can have candidates for DM and candidates for Azimio. Like, for example, Raila is a presidential candidate for Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party.
Right.
Not ODM.
Not ODM.
Still, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party can produce MCAs, MPs, governors. Yeah. But now you are seeing in this situation that also these constituent parties to Azimio, that is Wiper, Jubilee, ODM, and all other parties, are producing candidates in other positions. Yeah, there is no particular clause, and the version of the agreement which I managed to have a look at, the Azimio la Umoja Kenya Coalition Party agreement, does not give any particular bar to anybody who wants to contest for presidency. So, legally speaking, Victor, and that's why IBC responded to register political parties accordingly.
Yes.
They cannot bar Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka from contesting for presidency. Yeah, legally speaking.
Then perhaps when you look at the political parties' code of conduct and their constitution, it creates somehow a leeway for other parties to contest,
yes,
even within the coalition.
It does.
But this brings a lot of confusion.
Exactly, it does. But you see now, the work of the IBC is just to follow the law and ensure that the law is followed. Their work is not to participate in forming these agreements. Because you see, the Political Parties Act, Victor, the third schedule, gives the constituent parties powers to agree on the management of that coalition party. So if the drafters of the agreement did not foresee that there could be such an issue, then you see you can't...
Perhaps we would argue that it was intentional.
Maybe it was
that window.
Exactly. Maybe it was intentional. So they should not come now start saying that, you know, this party should not do this. The only issue, which I think has been an issue, and I think after PA and Untitled Chapter went to the Political Parties Tribunal, is the issue of exit. You see now, according to the Azimio la Umoja Coalition Agreement, there are those provisions which now provide on how a party can exit. Those 90 days notice, it can be 6 months to the general election. You see, in this case, Wiper is not exiting from Azimio. Victor, Article 36 of the Constitution on freedom of association is very clear.
Okay.
That anybody, you know, a party, Wiper as a party is a legal entity. It can associate itself with other parties. That does not mean they are barred from producing a candidate for any position, leave alone presidential candidate. Yes. So it is a matter of Honorable Kalonzo to say other decisions, whether to vie or not to vie, they will be political decisions. But legally speaking, he can go all the way.
He can go all the way. But he was offered that position of chief minister. So that position is just going to go like that.
We don't know, Victor. You know, some of these senior politicians, the level at which they engage.
Can you say that he's declined that offer?
I can't say that, Victor, because I'll be
respectful. Because if he's going and the position is still open, he's not been declared scrapped.
Yes.
Or Raila Odinga has not denounced that position.
But let me ask you, Victor.
Yes.
Have you seen that position existing anywhere in the law?
It can be done under executive order.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's why, Victor, there must be, and that's why Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, whom I respect very much, insisted on a structured dialogue from the beginning, Victor. If you are following how Azimio la Umoja One Kenya was formed at KCC, at Jacaranda, and even thereafter when he was talking, he was saying they have agreed, between himself, the president, and Honorable Raila, that there will be structured dialogue, whereby they'll agree, let's have this for this region, this for this party, this for this party. It will be structured. But you see, when a political announcement was made at KCC, when Honorable Martha Karua was being unveiled as the running mate, the position was, yes, the Honorable Raila mentioned that he will offer Honorable Kalonzo. He proposed that position.
Yes.
And he actually gave him 2 weeks and said within 2 weeks, we'll be able to see whether that will be possible. But now, you even saw the Wiper leaders when they met the other time, I think it's last week, Monday, and they said, no, if there's any position for the party, it must be formal. Yeah. And even you, Victor, as a sane person, if you are given something which does not exist anyway, you may also have so many questions. So I think, and you also saw the other issue which was also proposed at KCC, where Raila said that Honorable Mother will become deputy president and as CS.
Yes.
So you're asking yourself, does even the law allow somebody to be a deputy president and also as he is at the same time? So these things needs to be internalized and discussed by looking at the various legal provisions of the, instead of now coming up with political discussions just to entice the voters, but fail to capture the requirements of the law.
Okay.
Yes.
So, in one word, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka all the way to the ballot.
He has the right, under Article 38 of the Constitution, to exercise his political rights, and he can go all the way to the ballot.
Okay.
If that is party and himself, if that's what they want, they can do that.
All right.
They have the right.
Let's take another break. I'm told that we have to pay bills, and when we come back, let's talk about the issue of integrity. And we've seen a number of aspirants now having women as their running mates. We'll be discussing that after this. Stay around.
Na kama hiyo ni njama ambayo mmepanga nyinyi wawili, wewe kama umwonea imani sana, basi mtafutie sehemu nyingine ya kuishi.
Huyo msichana wako atakunyonyora wewe pa kubaki supu. Chezi ya msichana college wewe.
Siwezi kuwa na dada mwenye roho mbaya kama yako. Una nia nzuri wewe.
Ngoja mimi nimechoka kabisa kukuhurumia.
It's none of your business. Achana na mimi.
Tunataka nini kwangu?
Mimi kuja kumwona mwanangu.
Toa hivyo vitu.
Wamama wamesema ndio, vijana wamekubali, wanasema enda. Imetoka na kitu.
Mtu ngapi? 200. Nusu. Utanikupatia pesa ati nikiangalia huko. Ni nini natendeka?
Wewe nijatea mimi.
Ni mimi niko naona ninakuuliza ni nini natendeka?
Nimesema hizo pesa silipi.
Na silipi.
Wewe bwana, huu ni mheshimiwa bwana, acha kuweka hiki kitu.
For both of us, this little boy is going to give us a new beginning in our marriage.
You two are going to be my successors.
They'll be the ones to preserve his surname, and not us.
He has every right to know that you're having his baby. You have to go and tell him.
Your father gave them his surname. They're as much a Murat as you.
I don't believe
And besides, it's not up to you to choose what your father does or what he does with his money.
Well, we'll have to see about that. Adrian doesn't want to be with you. And now he and I have started a relationship. So leave and don't come looking for him again.
Welcome back, and the conversation still continues here with me in studio. I have got Kevin Katise, who is an advocate of the High Court and an analyst who is also an insider at the Kalonzo Musyoka Presidential Campaign Secretariat. He said that Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka will go all the way to the ballot. I think we have to leave that at that. All right. So IBC says that for you to be cleared, first of all, you have to meet the integrity test. But is it so for most of the aspirants?
Yes, it should be so, because that's why, Victor, the certificate of good conduct is very key. Yeah, and also the ethics and anti-corruption commission certificate, they are very key, because Chapter 6 of the Constitution must be met by all public and state officers. And remember, these candidates, they will become now public officers.
Yeah.
So Chapter 6 must be complied with fully. If your good conduct is not proper, you will not be cleared. Yes.
you know you're an advocate, and
Yes.
you meet these people in the corridors of
Yes.
justice quite
Yes.
often. Give me, is Chapter 6 fully practiced by our politicians?
Chapter 6 is supposed to be fully practiced.
Right, it's wide. I know it's wide, but when you talk about the integrity and the ethics bit of it,
Yes.
do they really adhere to it?
Not really, because there is also this gap and this avenue of somebody being given a chance to go to court and seek and be able to seek relief from the court. Yeah, because for you to be declared fully unfit, you must have exhausted all the legal remedies available to you. Yeah, if, for example, you have seen the case of Waitito, for example, those issues of corruption.
Yes.
Yeah, if the matter is ongoing in court, maybe he loses at High Court, he appeals at a Court of Appeal until he is able to go all the way to Supreme Court. Yeah, and maybe after Supreme Court, he will now be declared to be to be corrupt. Then at that point is when Chapter 6 can be applied. But now, before somebody is able to exhaust all the legal avenues, then there's no option. IBC must, so long as there is proof that he or she appealed and there's an active case in court, then IBC will have to respect that. Because Victor, and according to Article 48 of the Constitution, 47, yeah, you are supposed to be deemed not guilty, yeah, until otherwise is proven by the court. So somebody can wake up and say Victor is corrupt, and provide evidence. Maybe the evidence has been prepared, yeah, just to paint you as corrupt, so that you don't contest. And they go to IBC and say this person is corrupt, yeah. If IBC believes in that and follows that, then it means Article 38 is infringed.
Yes.
The political rights of a person. Yeah. So we also have to also know that IBC is independent. These other bodies, maybe the DCI, for example, who have the mandate of providing the good conduct certificate, may also be influenced for other reasons.
Okay, but let me understand. An impeachment can be equated to a full prosecution.
Yes.
All right. It matters, in the county assemblies and what have you. But then, when somebody is impeached,
yes,
then the courts would deem that person to have gone through all the due process.
Yes.
Either you have been impeached because of gross misconduct, violation of the Constitution, embezzlement of funds, and abuse of office. Name them. By the time somebody is getting impeached from office, and for example, in the case of Waititu and Governor Sonko, the courts would argue that that person underwent all the processes in the county assembly until now he was removed from office. And therefore you can say that this person is fully prosecuted and the case settled, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. Impeachment is a whole process, prosecution process.
Yes.
However, even though the legal provisions of impeachment are followed, don't forget that impeachment is a political process. You can be impeached for political reasons. Yeah, and when for example, if you are a governor like Waitito, for example, where the county assembly impeached him, yeah, and now they forwarded the name to the Senate. Senate, there were also discussions in the Senate, and the Senate also impeached him again. He has the right to go to court.
So which means IBC is also conducting that political bit. If it is political and someone is impeached, you've said that impeachment is a political process.
Yes.
So IBC is also playing the political game. That you cannot clear you because it was a political game. So you are coming back to us for a clearance? No, it was political. We are not clearing you for another political seat.
No, but IBC, Victor, have not. And if they will stop somebody from vying because of impeachment, then I will not agree with them. Because that's what I'm saying. Impeachment is a political process, Victor.
Yes.
You have a right. Article 38, Victor, of the Constitution gives you a fundamental right, the right to the political rights, whereby you can vie as a candidate or you can vote. So if people somewhere ganged up and they said, oh, Victor is corrupt, Victor has not been doing this, yeah, and they impeach you, you have the right to go to court. Let the court, if the court affirms that position and says, indeed, we can confirm that Victor is corrupt and his impeachment was proper, then now IBC should follow that. Because no, IBC will not follow the decisions by other bodies, Victor. Remember, impeachment is a decision by that particular assembly which impeached you, whether it's counter assembly or Senate. Yeah. So IBC will only follow the law. After this person has been impeached by this body, this person can go to High Court, yeah, and oppose that impeachment. So until you exhaust all the legal options available to you, IBC cannot say we will not clear you. Believe you me, Victor, and you have seen even in Mombasa, Sonko has a date with IBC. Yes, he has been given a date. Despite all these petitions which have been filed against him, it is very clear that after he was impeached, he appealed. He went to Court of Appeal, to High Court. From High Court, Court of Appeal. Actually, his case now is at Supreme Court. Yeah. So that process cannot say, we can't say that, because he was impeached, then he can't vie. No. Yeah. And you see, of course, I have also to respect our Chief Justice when she said that at one particular radio station, when she said that if somebody is impeached, and I think that's where some papers are getting their authority from, if somebody is impeached, they can't stand in any political office. As an
impeachment is like a vote of no confidence, lack of public trust.
That is true.
Why would somebody run again for a public office, yet you are impeached because of vote of confidence, gross misconduct, and what have you?
But you see, Victor, the Constitution is very supreme. And Victor, Article 38, it says that the political rights of a Kenyan should not be limited by unreasonable restrictions. Yeah, it is very supreme. Somebody cannot wake up and tell you, Victor, you will not vote or you will not vie. So long as you meet all the requirements, and even if all the 47 presidential candidates met all the requirements, IBC would have been mandated by the law to print a ballot paper with all of them, even if they are 50 or 100. Yeah, that is the political rights of a Kenyan, Victor. So, by virtue of you being impeached, and you have appealed that impeachment, it's like when you go to, there's a criminal case against you, Victor, at the Chief Magistrate Court, and you are convicted, you can appeal in High Court, Victor. If you're not convinced with the decision by the High Court, you can go to Court of Appeal.
Okay.
Even Supreme Court if you want, Victor. So these are the rights of Kenyans which must be protected. You can't tell Sonko or Waititu that you are impeached. You will never stand for office in any place in Kenya. And this person has an active case in court. So we must also respect the judiciary. The judiciary also is there. You see, Victor, that's what I'm saying. Impeachment is a political process.
Yes.
If the MCAs, they are not friendly to you, and they say this guy has been very, and because you saw open exchange of words between Sonko and maybe the president at that time, and maybe he was politically punished, you can't also punish him legally. He has his legal rights, which must be protected. Yes. And IBC, that's what I'm saying, IBC, so far they are doing a good job. They are following and they have said so. They will only be guided by the provisions of the Elections Act and the Constitution, Victor.
Okay.
Yes.
But let's also wait and see, because from here he says that one must not have been impeached from a public office and must be of sound mind. And Ofleche Bukati being a renowned lawyer and a senior counsel, let's wait and see how it will pan out. But then moving on, we have seen that even during the presentation yesterday, most of the aspirants and even across the country have female, as women as their running mates.
Yes.
This probably, not so to speak, because it is Honorable Raila Odinga who started the whole of this, and it's now changing. But let's leave that aside. Is it time for women now to start stepping up into that ladder or political seat?
The time has always been there.
Yes.
The opportunity has always been there. But now we can say it is a time for women to now make good use of that opportunity. Because even according to the Constitution, Victor, women are allowed to participate in elective and appointive positions. Even the Constitution supports them when it says not more than 2/3 should be of the same gender. But you see, for elective, Victor, you saw that's why it was very difficult, even for IBC to enforce that 2/3 gender rule in nominations. Because if nobody has come for nomination, will you go now picking people to fill positions for the sake of complying with 2/3? Yeah, it is not easy. Yeah, but now for appointive and in appointments, it is now at the discretion of the person who is appointing to also take note of that that gender role. Yeah, and I think yes, the move by Azimio, President flag bearer, Honorable Raila to nominate Martha Karua, yes, it may have influenced other candidates, especially governor candidates. But remember, it has always been there, especially in counties.
What was the fear all about? Because were they waiting for somebody to take a risk? And probably some would argue that most of the aspirants are now, it's just a knee-jerk reaction, probably because of, so that is the gender arithmetic and the gender card playing its role.
I think not the issue of risk, Victor. It is the issue of the value that this person will bring to the person appointing her. Yeah, because in Kenya, it's not about gender or age. It is about how many votes are you bringing. Yeah, and there were so many factors which were considered in nominating Honorable Martha Karua. Leave alone the gender factor. There were so many other factors, Victor.
Exactly.
There were so many other women
behind the scenes that people did not know about.
Yes. There are so many other women who also contested for that position.
Yes.
Ngilo was there, Sabina Shege was there. But now there were other factors, which were the Mount Kenya factor, for example. The Oka factor. This is Azimio one Kenya. Maybe they said because Honorable Kalonzo and Honorable Martha were both in Oka before they joined Azimio, there were so many other factors, Victor. When you look at the county level, for example, when a governor is nominating a lady, you also look at the behavior by the voters in that particular region. If maybe they believe if you have a woman as your deputy will vote for you, then the candidate will do that. So I think, and also the issue of whether it was a risk taking, I don't think it is that issue of they were waiting for somebody to take a risk. I don't think so, Victor, because ideally speaking, and looking at the spirit which was instilled to Kenyans by the BBI, whereby they were even saying if the governor is a male, the deputy should be a female.
Yes.
I did not see that in the BBI where they say if the presidential candidate is a man, the deputy is a woman. They don't say that, but it is a spirit, which is a good spirit actually. Yeah. But also a challenge now has been posed to women, whereby we are giving you a chance. Come out. Don't wait for these women rep positions, or you wait for nomination list whereby it was balanced gender, where we put women. No. Come out and seek these positions.
Now, when you look around, for example, we have got Senator Cleophas Malala in Kakamega, who picked a woman as his running mate. Yesterday we saw Justice Juma of Freedom and Justice and Freedom Party, also Anne Wavinya, running mate. We also saw Peter Kingori, who's an independent candidate, also woman running mate. Of course, Raila Odinga, again, woman running mate. And we've seen other leaders across the country. Perhaps, is it just a knee-jerk reaction? But women, because women are going to be considered going to play a key role in this particular election.
Yes, they will.
Because of their numbers.
Yes, Victor. No, women actually are the ones who are known to be very loyal supporters, and they vote, actually. I think they vote more than men. Yeah. But no, also look at the aspect of will having a woman motivate them to vote? Yeah. Or maybe because there are those who say, they fail to support each other. But I think after Honorable Martha was nominated, I agree with you that other candidates, especially for governor, have also been influenced by that particular decision. And they said, okay, if the presidential candidate is choosing a woman, we can also do the same. But the dynamics are different. Not every other governor candidate is nominating a woman, not every other, because the dynamics are different.
Exactly.
Yes.
But does it guarantee one a win just by picking a woman as a running mate?
No. It does not guarantee a win. It also you have to look at the value, or maybe the influence that this particular woman has in that area. Yeah, because if you, like in Nairobi, for example, you have seen both Sakaja and Igathe, who are the top contenders, they have picked men.
Exactly.
They haven't picked women. Yeah. So you also look at the dynamics of what is happening. Will a lady help me more than, because you see, Nairobi politics is different from Machakos, from Kajiado, from Narok, from Siaya politics. They are different. Yeah. Maybe in this particular region, if you pick a woman, you'll be voted more You pick a woman because these politicians also they also have their own strategy team, which also do a lot of research to identify who is the best candidate to give me votes. Yeah. So those are all those factors which must be considered. But me, as a person, I would also support that idea of gender balance, where we have a male candidate, a female deputy. That's a very good way of doing Kenyan politics. Yes.
Because as it stands right now, I think we should just point it out that most women should now go out there and yearn for the topmost political seats. Not wait for being, given that position of being a running mate.
Yes.
Well, it is a position, but I think they should also go out there and jump into that ocean and swim with the male counterparts.
Yes.
We saw Senator Moses Wetangula submitting his papers yesterday before the commission.
Yes.
And people talked about it so much that, he's been promised this and that, blah, blah, blah. But then now he still went ahead and submitted his papers. Was he right to do so? Was that show?
He was very right, Victor. He was very right. And Senator Wetangula is a senior politician and a senior lawyer in this country. Yeah. And in politics, you look at your interest. Because people are asking, I saw the legs of Honorable Eugene Wamalwa attacking him and telling me, I think Wetangula knows that Kenya Kwanza will not win and will not get
that
majority.
Was not political.
Yes, it was political. But the position, Victor, remember that leaked agreement between in Kenya Kwanza, they gave for the Kenya as a party the position of speaker. They gave ANC the position of chief minister. So Wetangula was right to say, me, I can go for Senate, and that position, if it will be there, it will be for our people. That's how he answered them yesterday. He told them, this position for speaker, if it is there, it will be for our people. So they have actually, it's bargaining, and there will be double victory. He is senator, and speaker is also from their region. Remember also, Lusaka is from Bungoma. You see, so I think he was trying to be smart. And also in the event that Kenya Kwanza fails to get majority of the senators or majority of the MPs, you will not be able to get the speaker. Because, Raila can win, but fail to get majority of the members in parliament. Ruto can win, Kalonzo can win, and their parties fail to get majority. So I think Honorable Wetangula was trying to be a smart politician. And there's nothing to prevent him from vying for his speakership.
It's called risk management.
For Senate, exactly.
You're spreading the risk.
Exactly. So it's a good way of spreading the risk, as you're saying.
Like somebody else told me that, in Nairobi, when you want to spread the risk, and you have got lots of money, one you put in your side pocket, in the other in your socks, and you spread the risk. So if you happen to lose one here, then you still have others stashed somewhere else.
Exactly.
I know that's what Honorable Moses Wetangula did. But then he was just trying to be smart, as you said, being a politician he is, and you're not sure of tomorrow.
Exactly.
Because it can go either way. Now, finally, what should we expect moving forward? Because now the campaign period officially began last night. It's now 30th and until 6th of June, 48 hours to the poll day. What should we expect?
I think, Victor, with the official commencement of the campaign period, of course, we will expect a vigorous campaign by all the candidates. Remember, some of the candidates will not be cleared.
Yes.
For those who will be cleared now, they'll be sure that now they can invest. Politics, Victor, is also investment.
It is.
Because I can't put my money where I am very sure there will be no returns.
Yes.
So politics is investment. And remember also other candidates who are just they were also projects who are contesting so as to, they will be bought along the way. So with the commencement of the official campaign period, be assured of vigorous campaigns. Money will be poured. If there's a word like that, people will say money will be poured. People now, and you have seen what the nation is saying about the issue of the factors which Kenyans are looking for. Money is the first thing, food, and then peace. So of course the IBC, and I think that law was the High Court declared that law to be unconstitutional. The issue of IBC trying to put a cap on the spending by the candidates. Yeah.
Yes.
You saw there was a court in court, and that was declared unconstitutional. A lot of money will be spent.
And it's quite expensive. Politics
very
is quite expensive,
Victor. Very expensive. The choppers will be all over. Vehicles, those branding materials, people being given money. So the IBC must be on the watch out, for these election offenses. Yeah.
Yes.
The IBC is now has a tough job, and you may see some candidates being removed from the list. Yeah. For failing to adhere to the IBC codes of conduct. Yeah, voter bribery, for example. You have seen the UDA presidential candidate trying to also being smart by shifting his campaigns from his official residence to the UDA office, because use of state resources is a key thing which has to be considered. Yeah, before commencement, he could go to court and say, according to the law, elections had not started. So you can't tell me that I've been using state resources to campaign. But after yesterday, Victor, anybody now can go to court and say, the deputy president is using state resources to campaign. So the people are trying to be smart, and you will see them not using government vehicles. Sometimes when you go to these campaign rallies, you see people covering the GK number plate, so that it is not captured by media. So I think the IBC must be on the high alert, to ensure that state resources are not used in these campaigns. So Victor, I think Kenyans, and I think the last time I was here, I tried to urge the IBC, and I know they watch KBC. I urge them to conduct a proper civic education. Let them sponsor television adverts, newspaper adverts. Even let them have their people on the ground to educate Kenyans on the voting process. Let not your vote be bought. Vote for somebody who will indeed lead you in the right way. Because under Article 1 of the Constitution, the people of Kenya are the supreme. Sovereignty belongs to the people. You elect this person, believe you me, removing them from office is not easy. So get somebody who will lead you in the right way. So and now having the high number of candidates in all these positions, people may be confused. You have seen there are so many independent candidates, Victor, who are there saying, mimi niko independent lakini na support Wiper. Mimi niko independent lakini na support Azimio. Mimi niko independent lakini na support Kenya Kwanza. You see now, all these dynamics must be captured, and Kenyans, the electorate, must know and must be guided on the right person to vote for. So I think between now and the 6th of June, Victor, expect a lot of movement. There's high cost of living, Victor, but believe you me, you will see money now in circulation. Wondering now, where was this money? When the Kenyans were suffering, when fuel was 150, per liter for petrol, when Kenyans have nothing to put on the table. So I think Kenyan politics must be, for lack of a better word, must be civilized, whereby let's consider the interest of the common mwananchi. All these narratives they are using in their manifesto, Mama Mboga, tusaidia Wanjiku, nini, all these ideas, it's just to woo the voters, Victor. Believe you me, very few politicians have the interest of Kenyans in their hearts. So it is upon the Kenyans to be able to choose a leader who will lead them in the right way. Yes.
Thank you so much. I think that's the right time for us to conclude that discussion. We have been speaking to Kevin Katisia, who is an advocate of the High Court, giving us his tidbits. And yes, one thing to take home is that Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is on the ballot, and as per the IEBC timeline here, he is scheduled to appear before the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission on June 4th to present his credentials after he was given another lifeline because of some of the anomalies which were detected during the presentation there. Of course, he's not the only person who got that reprieve. We also saw Justice and Freedom Party, as well as the other candidates who are given another chance to appear before that commission, and that will happen tomorrow. All right, just to give you an update on what happened yesterday, again, according to the let me just get that. That is because the death of Rugby MP, that is William Kamoti, who died last evening at around 9 p.m. along the Maziwa-Mombasa Malindi Highway, which was confirmed by Kilifi North OCPD Jonathan Koech, who said that the accident occurred at around 9 p.m. last evening. Koech, together with this driver, Koech, who was his driver, sustained some injuries and was rushed to the hospital for treatment. And according to the police, is that the car rolled into a ditch after swerving to avoid a head-on collision with an oncoming truck. So the ODM legislator is said to have earlier presented his nomination credentials to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. So Ganze MP Teddy Mwambire said that the deceased had been cleared by the IEBC to contest on an ODM ticket. So that is as far as that is concerned, and we're waiting to hear more from the IEBC, having in mind that we only have 71 days to go. And, you know, IEBC, bound by the law, do you think they can declare that position vacant as at now, or they'll have to, you know, let the law of justice, you know, the natural justice to prevail until the August election?
You know, the official list of candidates has not been gazetted. So I think what IEBC can do at this point is to allow the party to submit another name.
Another name.
Yeah, because if now the list had been gazetted, then that seat could have been, its election could have been done 60 days after the general election.
Yes.
But now in this case, because the official names of candidates have not been gazetted, the party can submit another name. Yeah, I think that may happen.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
But then they cannot declare that position vacant as required by law?
For now, because he was the sitting MP. Yes, the position is vacant. Yeah, but you see now the challenge is a by-election cannot be conducted between now and...
because it has to happen 3 months after, and 3 months will already be past August.
Yes, so that's the challenge there. I don't know how they'll be able to deal with it, because between now and 9th of August, I don't think there can be any by-election. Yes.
All right, so as you said, probably the party can consider that together with the IEBC and all the legal aspects, experts, to fill that first position. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. That is Kevin Katisia, political analyst as well as advocate of the High Court. We value your valid company. My name is Victor Lo. Thank you for watching. We are taking a break. We'll be right back.
Laikipia County's Naibunga Upper Conservancy, a region densely populated by pastoralists with livestock being their main source of livelihood. Their livelihood is, however, under threat from a thorny invasive enemy, the Opuntia plant. Up close, this plant seems more of an aesthetic, and one wouldn't imagine the havoc this plant introduced by the British in the pre-colonial period as fences for their land and overall beauty is causing in this region.
When this Opuntia came in, it totally now took over grazing fields. It colonized the grasslands. It inhibited growth of grasses that used to be there, the perennial grasses, and also the other adaptable grasses. So you found that the livestock didn't have anything else to feed on other than this Opuntia. And yes, this Opuntia is nutritive, but now it had other adverse effect to this livestock. You found out that it has caused mouth sores and also throats. And with time now, it has also clogged the intestines. And when the intestines are clogged, this livestock become emaciated and eventually die.
Where grass once grew, Opuntia has replaced it, and livestock here fall prey to its beauty and the juicy fruit it has as a replacement for the grass. This is, however, doing more harm than good.
We have lost a lot of stocks onto Opuntia. You cannot sell them because their value is very low. You cannot sell them. You cannot even market them outside. So we have many people have become poor, such that they cannot even take their children to school. They just loiter around. They cannot even afford their daily meals because of this plant.
Inakaa kama chakula kwa muda, alafu inaenda ikimudhuru mpaka nakufa. Haisi kuwa ati inasaidia yeye kabisa. kama siku 3-4 imepita, iko zingine 2 imekufa. Haya pande nyingine kuna ng'ombe imekufa. Sasa ng'ombe najua inaanguka haraka sababu ya njaa na hiyo kitu kuumiza. Kwa hivyo hawezi kumaliza siku 4 bila ng'ombe kukufa.
Northern Rangelands Trust sought a solution to prevent the spread of this invasive plant and was introduced to the cochineal insect, which was first used in South Africa. And in partnership with the community conservancy here, 6 greenhouses were established in this region.
So the white cotton candy-like thing is what they produce as a protective substance around them. So what the cochineal does is it sucks the sap from these fleshy leaves. This is a fresh leaf, and as you can see, it just has very small manifestation of the cochineal. So what it does is it sucks the sap from the leaf, and with time it withers. So this leaf has already been infected. Like you can see, the purplish stuff is the cochineal after it has fed on it.
Among others, elephants have been identified as super spreaders of the plant during their feeding and movement, and this has become a hindrance to the success of the efforts to rid this region of the prickly bear.
Ikaanza kuwa na wanyama kama ndugu wanaingia huko ndani wanakula. Sasa wakatawanya ika spread mali yote.
Other plants are not doing well because they observe a lot of water, so it dominates places, and it also can grow anywhere. We have blind animals back at home. You can see some of the goats that are totally blind, cows, and also some that cannot graze due to the affection of the lips and also the tongues. They just, you can see their mouths cannot move, they cannot graze anymore.
Despite these challenges, the women of this conservancy, who are paid by Northern Rangelands Trust, visit this greenhouse every 2 weeks to take freshly infested opuntia, which is coated with a cotton candy-like substance. The infected ones are placed at the base of the healthy cacti, and wind transfers the flightless insects to adjacent plants to allow fresh infestation. The sap-sucking insect feeds on the plant to its complete decomposition.
When now the virus consumes the sap, the plants become like this. They dries totally and it dies. And now when it now dies, it just spreads on the ground by itself, having no any other much effects to livestock and human beings.
It is working very nicely, especially in dry season. Like you visit some places like just the 40 acres of Twala, we actually eradicated completely because we can cut and also dig to get the roots, and then we place in one place, and then we take the cochineal and put on top of it, and it completely dry off.
Women involvement in this project has been a game changer for us because it's been very easy to involve women in this process. One, because they were readily available and they're also passionate about this project. And when these livestock come back home in the evening, it's the women's time that are taken when they're removing the clotches from the eyes, the cloud dots from the mouth, and all that.
The Conservancy gets its support from the Trust, but is calling on more donors to come to their aid and assist them in this battle to save their livestock and livelihoods.
The women in this Conservancy are committed to reclaiming back their land in hopes that where the Opuntia plant grows today, the grass for their livestock will grow in the future days. Isufar reporting for KBC Channel 1 from the Naibunga Conservancy, Laikipia County.
Thank you for staying with us. It is exactly 14 minutes past 9 a.m. and we want to move on to the next conversation today. On our Family Check segment, we are going to be talking about life after retirement. Looking at the retirement age in Kenya, it is officially 60 years old, but there is the option of retiring earlier. But how is life after retirement? How are you as an individual preparing for life post, your working years. That is an area of focus this morning because we have seen so many people wallow in poverty once they retire from actively working, and this is so due to being unprepared. So today we're going to be having that conversation, and to help bring this conversation best to us, we have with us Peter Rotich. He is the administrator working with Telposter Pension Scheme. Good morning, sir, and welcome.
Good morning, Kenya. Asante sana.
Thank you for being with us today. Karibu sana. Now, if you have any questions or comments, or you're just seeking clarification, we welcome you to talk with us via our social media platform. The hashtag on Twitter is @KBC Channel 1. Our official station handle is @KBC. Official hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. Official station handle is @KBC Channel 1. My handle is @Jane Wamboi. Now, before we get deeper into this conversation, let us start by just giving our viewers a brief understanding of what Telposter Pension Scheme is all about, a bit of background.
Yeah, thank you, Jane. Telposter Pension Scheme handles retirement benefits in respect of former employees of Kenya Post and Telecommunication Corporation. The purpose of this scheme is to ensure that persons who worked during their lifetime get monthly pensions.
Yes.
They also do get lump sum benefits. The beneficiaries are paid dependence pension upon the death of the main pensioner. That summarizes the role of Telposter Pension Scheme to the former employees of Kenya Post and Telecommunication, as well as the employees of Telecom Kenya Limited, who had left service as at 1st of December 2007. That was immediately after the privatization of that organization.
Okay.
That summarizes the role of Telposter Pension Scheme.
All right. Now, given Telposter Pension Scheme has been in the pension industry for so long, and over the years you have seen the different trends that the country has gone through when it comes to retirement, why is it still that we are having so many Kenyans not saving up for retirement, from what you have seen?
Jen, I've been in the pension industry for close to 32 years.
Yes.
And the critical aspect is, when do we start saving for retirement? You finish school, you start working, some start working at 20. Would I call that person financially literate? No.
Not quite.
Even at 25, I would say that person is only 7 years into adulthood. Is that person also financially literate? I'll say not much. So what we require is to ensure upon employment, we need a concerted effort to make sure young people realize that they will retire. And having realized that you will retire, that is the best time to start saving for your retirement. It's not about getting to know that you will retire at 45 or 50. You should start at 20. And how do you start? Spend less, save wisely. And how does it come about? By ensuring most employers set up retirement funds for their employees. How does that happen? In Kenya, we have almost 4 pillars. We have the compulsory National Social Security Fund, which in 2014, you and myself know we were supposed to increase our contributions towards NSSF, but there has been some court matter that has made us continue pumping in 400 shillings. That's not enough. We do have the individual personal pension plans. The individual personal pensions plan are mostly in respect of employers who do not set up occupational pension schemes. So Telposter Pension Scheme is an occupational pension fund. And the last one we do have is the government pension scheme. We are lucky civil servants started contributing towards the pension scheme in 2019. So we have those 4 pillars in the country. Out of all those 4 pillars, how many persons contribute towards pension schemes? Only 3 million. 3 million Kenyans.
And that's a point of interest, considering that figure are 3 million Kenyans that are contributing towards pension schemes. Do we have even enough entities that offer these pension plans for those that may be wanting them?
We do have.
Yes.
We do have enough entities. Remember, how many people are in employment? 3 million formal. And then in the informal sector, you are aware in 2004, the informal sector actually grew faster than the formal sector. How many persons do we have in the informal sector? close to 15 million people. We need to harness that. Most entrepreneurs in the informal sector are not covered under retirement schemes. So we need to have an honest conversation as a country, as practitioners in the industry, to ensure that we reach out to the 15.7 million persons who are not contributing towards their retirement. I mean, most of these people, I would call them entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Some people call them hustlers. We need to harness them to ensure there is massive education. And I would want also the media to play an active role. Curriculum development in school, so that as a person starts working, as a person sets up their kiosk, a matatu business, a hair salon, how much are you putting aside for your retirement? Because you will not be active forever. So that is the conversation we need to have as a country. Are we reaching out to the 15.7 million people in the informal sector to ensure that they save for their retirement? The other thing also important, save for their medical. Why? We don't want to put a lot of burden. We don't want to put a lot of burden in our government. Too much pressure for them to provide for social security. So we need to educate Kenyans and tell them it is imperative, start saving when you are young.
Now, looking at that aspect of starting to save when you are young, as you've mentioned, as early as 20, you can start saving.
Absolutely.
Because looking at 20, by the time you get to 60 or 65, on the higher end 70, you have at least 40, 45 years there to work and save. But then again, how do you get started? Because I think most people have a perception that I need to start with a set figure in order to save for my retirement. How can one get started? At the age of 20, fresh out of campus, you've gotten your first internship gig.
Thank you. We have to fall on to what is the replacement ratio? What is the ideal amount that you require when you retire? Assume you are earning 10,000 Kenya shillings. Put aside, out of that 10,000, put aside close to 20 to 30% of the 10,000 of your salary. If your employer, and I do believe as an occupational pension scheme, your employer is doing 10% of your salary, and you are doing 10%, you are actually at 20%. To get that adequate replacement ratio to move to 30%, I would request that as an employee, put an additional 10%. If your employer does not have an occupational pension scheme, you can save through an individual personal pension plan. Put aside 30%. If you put aside that 30%,
30% in this economy.
I'll come to that, Jane.
Yes.
If you put aside 30%, if you are contributing towards a retirement plan that pays you a lump sum, remember, we were taught in our elementary school the power of compounding interest. Absolutely, yes. Compound interest. Very, very important. That amount will form a basket that will enable you to live an adequate retirement plan. You have asked, is that adequate in this economic?
Because that is a reservation that most people would have. Yes, I want to save for the future, but my current needs are more important than the future that I'm not certain of.
What are the
that perception?
What are the current needs? Kenyans will always say, I have needs for rent, I have for food, household, transport, clothing, entertainment. Alafu kuna ile ya kanisa. Many people actually religiously contribute to church.
Yes.
Rarely do we put aside for retirement. So you'll find retirement is the last item. But I would advise Kenyans, it should actually be the first one. Pay yourself that saving. And then rent will come, food will come, education. If you have a nice plan, definitely, once you remove that 30%, remember, most employers do actually have a pension plan.
Pension plan, yeah.
Over and above that, once you do that plan for your food, for your household, transport, your kanisa, chama, and then and let entertainment be the last one.
Yes.
Of course, we have to entertain ourselves. Young people, we know, they have to entertain themselves. If you are in your 20s, they'll buy this nice TV set. They'll buy an iPhone, worth 100,000. They'll buy a speaker Herman Kardon speaker, I would advise these young people, please put that aside first. Save for your old age. That nice living will come during your retirement. But I'm not saying don't live well. Put aside something for entertainment, but don't let it be a substantial amount of your earnings.
All right. Now, given Telposta has been in the pension industry for so long and you are the administrator there, what are some of the challenges that you are facing as one of the stakeholders in the pension industry?
Yeah, there are many challenges. Let me give one example of the challenges that we faced in 2020. For example, when COVID came in, the investment returns were affected because of the market volatility at the capital markets. Most employers, just like Telposta pension scheme, we invest. Some pension schemes invest in property. When COVID came, you remember many tenants could not afford to pay. So for commercial buildings, giving an example, we had to structure some leases to ensure that our tenants were comfortable, structure a few leases to ensure that you are able to negotiate with your tenants on how much are they willing to pay. That we faced it. Other challenges in the pension industry, record keeping of members. Jane will be hired at 20 and she puts as a potential beneficiary the mom. Along the way, Jane puts a spouse. Over some years, she quarrels with the spouse. She comes and removes the spouse. She puts the brother. So you find there is a need for constant review and updating of those records so that the administrators in the pension schemes are able to pay out benefits as and when the need arises. When you retire, when you die, your potential beneficiaries do not suffer. Yes, so that it becomes very fast. The process becomes very fast in processing the benefits. Thank you.
All right. And also, let's now flip the coin, looking at pensioners. From what you have observed over the years, there are those aspects that most pensioners consider to be important, and there are those that, come secondary. But let's start with the challenges that you have also seen pensioners experiencing, and even those that haven't taken up pension schemes late in life.
Most pensioners will talk about low earnings in retirement. And why? They'll actually complain that the investment rates of return are quite low and the pension has been eaten up by inflation. Health costs. In retirement, the most important item that comes to a pensioner is the need to have a nice medical cover. So you find the cost of that medication is quite high. Some challenges also which comes in, lifetime decisions. You can't fault a person has reached retirement, gets a lump sum, and instead of using that lump sum to enjoy a nice retirement, what do? One of the challenges you'll find, Peter retires at 60, 65, or 70, or 50, he decides to marry. Now you have these young kids, 5 of them, and what do? You take these kids now to your other children who are already adults and tell them, take them. That amount of money that you are earning as a pension is not enough to sustain the retiree. And those are some of the challenges we encounter with these pensioners. And we tell them, when you are in retirement, structure your life in such a manner that you are able to live comfortably without starting a project. You get a lump sum of 1 million, 10 million, you start a project, and before the foundation is over, you want to put up a shop, all the money is gone. Some retirees or some pensioners who actually reach retirement, they decide, let me go into the matatu industry. And there'll be this person who tells you, we will actually guide you into it. They sell you a ramshackle. In the process, you find all the lump sum is gone. So those are the challenges. And how do you ensure you prevent that? Constant education, employee education, member education. I would urge employees during member education, please be present. They are administrators, they are fund managers, they are custodians. Investment advisors will come and advise you on how to ensure you live well during retirement.
All right. And what about those who also, once they get this retirement funds in lump sum, they use it to settle some of their debts?
It's allowed. It's allowed. As you go towards retirement, you'll find there's a certain lump sum. I would advise members, don't take the whole lump sum. Take a third or 2/3. The other amount, earn it as a periodic payment for the rest of your life. Better get little on a monthly basis than taking the lump sum and putting it into one project and it collapses. So the most important aspect is, yes, you will have needs as you retire. Maybe you had put up a house, it was not complete. There are some educational needs for your children, but take a certain percentage. Listen to an advisor. There are various pension providers in the market, in the industry, who will come to you and tell you, look here, set aside an amount, and this amount, which you'll be taking as a monthly pension, goes towards meeting your daily needs. Remember, your needs are not much at that time.
Yeah.
Maybe paying electricity, water bills, and a cover for your medical. We have a vibrant medical system in our country, up to including NHIF. So look at who is offering you the best medical service in the industry. Get an advisor. So from that monthly pension that you're getting, put aside for your medical and ensure there's enough that will cater for the project you wanted to complete. Maybe school fees for your child or a small business, but don't put everything into business. You will do that day.
Okay. Do we have cases of individuals or other pensioners who outlive the plans that they have taken?
Thank you.
And if so, how are they addressed?
One of the challenges that we are facing as a country is life expectancy. Improvement in medical facilities has made, you're supposed to get your pension, you get a lump sum, and then get your pension, monthly pension, for the rest of your life. Now, some people outlive, but you see,
the expected life.
The expected life. Maybe we're supposed to live to 70 or 80. You find someone living to 100. Our oldest pensioner 2 years ago was born in 1918. He has since rested. So our current oldest pensioner was born in 1921. This pensioner retired in 1974. Has been earning a pension from 1974. So would I say he has outlived? In the program, when you arrange a pension plan, there are those who will die early. There are those who live longer because they are getting it from a pool. So for those who die early, it compensates for those who live longer. And for our pension scheme, upon your death, then the pension is payable to your beneficiary, that is the spouse, for the next 5 years. So you live until 100. If your spouse, God willing, is still alive, we'll take it for 5 years. If your spouse has died, you have died, then it is payable to eligible beneficiaries who are below the age of 21. Yeah.
All right. Now, we welcome you to share with us your questions in regards to this particular discussion. It is important, as young as 20 years, as young as 40, you need to start saving for your retirement. And the earlier you do it, the better, as we have heard from the teachers. So questions, comments, clarification, use the hashtag GoodMorningKenya on Twitter, and of course our official station handle at KBC Channel 1. Now, in this particular case where the beneficiaries are the ones who, once the main contributor rests, the funds continue to be disbursed to the immediate beneficiary for 5 years. There's also, we've seen cases where family members now also become the problem in such situations where there's the father maybe or the mother is old, they know they're earning a certain amount of money. How do you also protect the retirees in this particular case from fraudsters and those that might be trying to con them?
Thank you. We do encourage members, employees, and wherever you are, when you are employed, you are given a form to indicate who your potential beneficiaries are. So you're a young person, 23, you're not married. So you indicate, my immediate beneficiary shall be my mom, or my brother, or my father. The moment you marry, you should immediately update that form and bring your spouse. We are together.
Yes.
The moment you get children, update, take to the trustees additional beneficiaries so that the list is updated. Remember, pension benefits do not form part of the estate of a beneficiary. So the trustees have a discretion on whom to pay. So what do the trustees...
And what percentages to go to the individuals?
Percentage? Because in the form, the list of beneficiaries, there's a percentage that you indicate. But remember, that percentage is not binding on the trustees. The trustees can decide what percentage to pay to the beneficiaries. So what I would urge members of pension schemes is always update the list of beneficiaries. Very important. You might enjoy your work and you forget to update the list of beneficiaries. You are married, you get 7 children, unfortunately you rest. The trustees open the list of beneficiaries, they find it was indicated not applicable, none. Yet, records from the employer, because the trustees work hand in hand with the employer. Records from the employer side shows Peter was actually married, had 7 children, but in the list of beneficiaries which the trustees have to rely on, it is indicated not applicable because you wrote that list at the time of employment. Yet at 40, Peter rests, he had married, has 7 children, and maybe 3 wives. So you find, I go to your question now, Peter has rested, the spouses come and fight. So we encounter that. Peter married, left the spouse in the village, came to Nairobi,
married again.
Married. All his colleagues in his workplace know of the lady in the urban area. The community and some friends know Peter has another spouse in the village. Now when the trustees want to disburse the benefits, they only find the lady in the urban area is in the list. Is it right for trustees to pay the lady in the urban area? No. Sit down as trustees, divide the benefits, because that lady in the village who requires even these funds, because the lady in, I'm sorry to have to use that term, the lady in the urban area might be having a job, the lady in the village might not be having a job and has kids. So the trustees have to sit and prudently divide this amount. There's another challenge, Madam Jane.
Yes.
Employees who are constantly transferred. There are certain professions where you find an employee has been transferred from Kisumu, stays there for 5 years, leaves a spouse there. The employee is transferred to Mombasa, gets a spouse there. The employee is transferred to Garissa. By the time the person reaches retirement, there are records at the employer's files. He has not updated it. By the time he's retiring in 8 stations, he has close to 6 spouses. Peter has 6 spouses. I'm not saying I have. But it's good
hypothetically speaking.
Hypothetically.
Yes.
Now the trustees face a challenge. Who is to be paid the benefits? Yet the person was not updating the
records.
So the scheme rules has to be very, very specific on who is to be paid. So trustees have to be very, very keen, seek legal advice, professional advice on how to ensure the scheme rules caters for the beneficiaries who have been left behind. So that's one big challenge you mentioned about. And in the process family issues. In the process, this pension is supposed to benefit the family immediately upon demise. So you find the biggest challenge now, trustees take long to make a determination on who the benefits are payable to.
All right. Now, as we draw closer to the end of this conversation, there is the general meeting that will be happening tomorrow, I believe. Tell Poster Pension Scheme AGM. Tell us a bit about that and what our viewers can expect.
Thank you. Regulation 2 of the retirement benefits rules provides that trustees must hold an annual general meeting. The purpose of the annual general meeting is to enable trustees disseminate the activities of a scheme to the members. So the trustees will be informing the members about the activities of the scheme over the last 1 year. It also enables members to raise any issues regarding the affairs of the scheme. So this is a forum for members now to come out, raise questions, interact with the trustees. We'll be doing it virtually in terms of adopting technology. We started using that last year because of the challenges of COVID.
The pandemic.
Jane, in 2020, we postponed our annual general meeting. Last year, we thought it wise, let us use technology, and that is why we are using KBC to reach out to our members. The trustees will present to them the financial statements for the year 2021, the fund manager's report, the custodian's report, the administrator's report, and there'll be a wellness talk. There'll also be a topic on how to ensure your beneficiaries know how to claim the benefits. So members, from the comfort of your home, tomorrow, sit and watch as the trustees disseminate information regarding the scheme. It starts at 9:30 in the morning.
Yes.
We have a toll-free line. Kindly be free to ring us using that toll-free line. Ask any questions. We did also write to you on the 9th of May about this annual general meeting. We did request to you members to raise any questions that you might want to be addressed tomorrow. So welcome our pensioners to tomorrow's annual general meeting to be broadcast live.
All right. So I think that is that in regards to this discussion. Again, all about saving for retirement. You need to prepare before you get to retirement so that we can do away with this culture of, living in poverty and yet you worked for so many years, but failure to plan, of course, leads to such. We have been speaking with Peter Rotich, who is the administrator at Telpost Pension Scheme. Of course, giving us more information about the event that will be happening tomorrow, the annual general meeting that will be running from 9:30 up until noon, so you can tune in to get to understand more of what goes into the pension industry here in Kenya. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Good morning, Kenya.
All right. Thank you once again for being with us. That brings us to a close of today's program. We do this again tomorrow morning. My name is Jen Boy. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing.
Gadhu Mbugua almaarufu prosecutor kwenye kipindi ukipendacho Vioja Mahakamani kwenye runinga ya KBC Channel 1 anaomba usaidizi wako kudhibiti gharama ya matibabu ya figo. Jamaa na marafiki wameandaa mchango mnamo tarehe 11 mwezi ujao wa 6 kwenye ukumbi wa Charter Hall, jumba la City Hall jijini Nairobi. Waweza kutuma mchango wako kwa paybill number 247247, nambari ya akaunti 777626. Gibson amekuwa mwanani wako na wangu kwa muda usiopungua miaka 40 sasa. Ni zamu yetu nasi tuwe wandani wake wakati huu mgumu.
Look at how much he's changed. He really has grown into a handsome young man.
Most of the ancient gods are gone now. Only a few of them remain. But they can't help.
Once the chance presents itself for us to put Rodor on the throne, only then will we have hope to achieve true world peace.
But just listen to me. I know. You're the only girl I wish to spend my life with.
For both of us, this little boy is going to give us a new beginning in our marriage.
You two are going to be my successors.
They'll be the ones to preserve his surname, and not us.
He has every right to know that you're having his baby. You have to go and tell him.
Your father gave them his surname. They're as much a Murat as you. I don't believe
And besides, it's not up to you to choose what your father does or what he does with his money.
Well, we'll have to see about that. Adrian doesn't want to be with you. And now he and I have started a relationship. So leave and don't come looking for him again.
mitikasi leo, makala kutoka BBC yaliyomo dola ya potea nchini Kenya na kuzua mashaka kwa wafanyabiashara huku shilingi ya nchi hiyo ikizidi kuporomoka. Baadaye benki moja kutoka Europa yakubali kutoa ufadhili wa zaidi ya dola bilioni 1 kwa Ukraine kwa ajili ya ujenzi na maendeleo. Kisha, je, unafanya kazi nyingi sana, kazi ambazo hazikupandishi cheo? Tunakupa vidokezo vya kupanda ngazi kikazi. Moja kwa moja kutoka Nairobi, Kenya, twende kazi. Masalamu popote ulipo, karibu kwa toleo la leo. Makala yanaangazia habari za biashara zinazokuhusu, uchambuzi wa kina na mahojiano. Ni Telenas Mwashigadi. Waagizaji bidhaa nchini Kenya wanalalamikia kuhusu uhaba wa sarafu ya dola ya Marekani. Wanadai kuwa benki zimepunguza mgao wa dola ambazo wanaweza kupata kila siku, huku benki kuu ikisisitiza hazina ya dola nchini inaweza kulipia miezi 5 ya bidhaa inayoagizwa kutoka nje ya nchi. Huku haya kijiri, sarafu ya Kenya imeporomoka kwa 3% huku ikiendelea kupoteza thamani yake dhidi ya dola na kufikia shilingi 116 kwa dola moja. Mwandishi wa BBC biashara Charles Gitonga amezuru mtaa wa Eastleigh jijini Nairobi na kuandaa taarifa ifuatayo.
Eastleigh ni mtaa tajika katika ulingo wa biashara jijini Nairobi. Ingawaje hakuna takwimu rasmi za kuonyesha mchango wake kwa uchumi, wafanyabiashara hapa wanakisia kuwa Eastleigh huchangia thuluthi moja ya kipato cha jiji la Nairobi kila uchao. Hata hivyo, hatua ya benki kuu ya Kenya kupunguza mgao wa dola za Marekani kwa wafanyabiashara imeanza kuleta athari zake. Abdirahman Ibrahim ni mwagizaji na muuzaji wa viungo. Imemlazimu kungoja muda mrefu kila anapoenda kutoa hela kwenye benki yake.
Sasa shida, ukienda kwa banki wanakupatia pesa, alafu unaambiwa kuja kesho, hatuna dola ambayo inakamilika. Yaani kama unataka for example 50, wanakuambia chukua 20 saa hii kwa banki, rudia hizo zingine baadaye.
Maduka ya ubadilishanaji wa fedha pia yameathirika na upungufu huo.
Mara nyingi mwaka huu unapoenda kutoa dola kwa benki, kwetu sisi na pia wateja wetu, unaambiwa usubiri, na hiyo inachukua masaa 24 kabla ya kupata dola hizo. Na kama hutapata dola, basi huna cha kuuza.
Kenya ni mwagizaji mkuu wa bidhaa kama vile mafuta na vyakula. Mwaka jana, nchi hii iliagiza bidhaa zenye thamani ya dola bilioni 18.5 kwa mujibu wa afisi ya takwimu ya kitaifa. Upungufu wa dola za Marekani basi unamaanisha ucheleweshwaji wa bidhaa.
Hiyo hasara inakuwa mrefu, kuleta mzigo inachukua muda. Watu kupokea ile mzigo walikuwa wanatarajia kwa muda, itachelewa. Ikichelewa, mwenye kuuza labda angepeleka Kenya sehemu nyingine, pia anachelewa. Mwenye kununua, hiyo yote sasa biashara yetu yote inaathirika.
Zaidi ya nusu ya deni la taifa nchini Kenya ni la kigeni, na fungu kubwa hulipwa kutumia dola za Marekani. Huku nchi hii inapotazamia uchaguzi mkuu mwezi Agosti, mamlaka zinatia bidii kuzuia shilingi ya Kenya kupoteza thamani yake, kwani hilo litafanya deni la kitaifa kupanda zaidi.
We have more demand for dollars versus the supply.
Urari wa malipo umefadhiliwa na deni, na ndio sababu serikali ina tabia ya kukopa kupitia dhamana ya sarafu ya euro. Basi mikopo hiyo inapopungua na benki kuu kuuza dola ili kuhifadhi thamani ya sarafu ya Kenya, unajipata katika nafasi tuliyopo sasa.
Huku taifa hili linapopambana kutosheleza hitaji lake la fedha za kigeni, majukumu ya kulipa deni lake la kitaifa haswa kwa dola za Marekani pamoja na mfumuko mkali wa bei ni baadhi ya changamoto tu ambazo wananchi wanatumai kuwa serikali itatatua hivi karibuni. Charles Gitonga, BBC, Nairobi.
Kwa sasa tupe macho taarifa zingine za biashara kutoka barani Afrika na kimataifa. Somalia inaandaa uchaguzi wa rais Jumapili wiki hii, miezi 15 baada ya zoezi hilo kuratibiwa kufanyika, lakini uchaguzi huo utakuwa wa aina yake. Manake raia hawatakuwa wakishiriki chaguzi hizo, na badala yake wabunge katika mabunge yote mawili ndio watakaokuwa wakipiga kura. Alafu Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo imezindua ndege ya pili ya kampuni ya kitaifa ya Air Congo ambayo itaongeza idadi ya ndege zinazotumika kwa kusafiri kufikia 7. Aidha, hatua hii ni ubia kati ya serikali na DRC na Ethiopian Airlines, huku serikali ikimiliki hisa 51% wakati ET inashikilia 49%. Kisha benki moja huko Ulaya imekubali kutoa zaidi ya dola bilioni 1 kama ufadhili wa ziada kwa Ukraine. Aidha, fedha hizo zitakuwa ujumlisho wa dola bilioni 2 ambazo zilikuwa tayari zimeahidiwa na benki ya Ulaya kwa ajili ya ujenzi wa maendeleo muda mfupi baada ya uvamizi wa Urusi. Pesa hizo zitatumika katika kuboresha miundombinu ya Ukraine kama vile umeme na usafiri na kusaidia makampuni yanayohusika katika uzalishaji wa chakula. Hii ni Mitikasi leo kutoka BBC. Takaangazia hivi punde. Je, unafanya kazi nyingi sana, kazi ambazo hazikupandishi cheo? Tunakupa vidokezo vya kupanda ngazi kikazi. Je, wewe hufanya majukumu yaliyo nje ya mtiririko wako wa kazi? Majukumu kama vile kuandika kumbukumbu za mkutano unaofanyika au kupanga sherehe za ofisi. Ofisi hufaidi kampuni ila hazimsaidi mtu kujiendeleza kikazi, hususan kupandishwa cheo. Kulingana na Harvard Business Review, wanawake hujitolea au kupokea majukumu hayo yakiwa asilimia 48 zaidi kuliko wanaume katika sehemu za kazi. Je, kuna njia ya kukataa majukumu kama haya bila kupoteza ajira yako? Basi Profesa wa usimamizi Lorraine Wengat kutoka chuo kikuu cha Mellon anasema kwamba anashauri unapaswa utambue ni majukumu yepi ambayo yatakupandisha cheo kazini, kisha jadiliana na msimamizi wako akueleze jinsi ya kupanga kazi yako. Hisia mseto zimekuwa katika mtandao wa kijamii wa Twitter. The No Club inasema kwamba makampuni yanapaswa kuacha kuwalimbikizia wanawake majukumu ambayo hayawapandishi vyeo, itasaidia kufanya kazi bora. Kama ilivyo ada, tumashirikisha wataalamu wetu chini ya nembo ya 100 bora kwa kuuliza, je, mtu anaweza kukataa kivipi kazi ambazo haziwezi kumpandisha cheo kazini? Tusikize njuga zao.
Kukataa kufanya kazi sio bora. Ni bora kuweza kujieleza kwamba kwa wakati huu sitaweza kufanya hii kazi, ila labda kwa wakati mwingine zile kazi ambazo zimepangwa zikishakamilika utaweza kuifanya hiyo kazi.
Anza kujifunza kusema hapana, na hiyo katika hapana yako usijisikie hatia kusema hiyo hapana. Lakini unaposema pia hiyo hapana yako, basi uwe na solution ambayo utampatia leader wako au kiongozi wako ya nini kifanyike.
Awali nimezungumza na Tike Wilfrem, mkuu wa nguvu kazi katika kampuni ya MultiChoice. Nilianza kwa kumuuliza, je, mtu anawezaje kutofautisha majukumu yasiokuwa na hatua ya kupandishwa vyeo? Tumsikize.
Je, ile kazi iliyojitokeza ni kazi ambayo inaweza ikawa inampa manufaa zaidi mbeleni, hata kama sio kwa kipindi hiko chake cha hiyo kazi anayoifanya, lakini unaweza ukajikuta umepewa project fulani ukaweza kuimanage vizuri ambayo ipo nje kabisa na mtiririko wa kazi, ikaja kukusaidia mbeleni katika references.
Swala zima la jinsia, uwe mwanamke mwanamume, je, linaathiri pakubwa ni nani ambaye anapewa majukumu haya ambayo hayana vyeo ama hayawezi kusaidia kupata vyeo?
Mara nyingi sana, na nikichukulia mfano kwa mimi ambaye nipo katika kampuni ambayo naifanyia kazi, huwa kazi kama hizi hatuangalii jinsia. Zaidi unaangalia kwa asilimia kubwa uwezo wa mtu kufanya bila kuangalia jinsia ikoje.
Naam, unaona kuna maana fiche ama nafasi fiche hasa katika watu ambao wanapewa nafasi hizi ambazo haziko katika mtiririko wa kazi?
Hapana, mimi ninaona kwamba kazi kama hizi hazitolei kwa sababu kwa hali ya maficho, bali ni kazi ambazo zipo wazi. Mara nyingi sana inakuwa ni inajulikana aidha kwenye kampuni au shirika kwamba kuna project fulani ipo mbele yetu na inahitaji watu waifanyie kazi.
Na Tike, tupatie tu vidokezo kwa yule mtu ambaye anapewa majukumu kama haya, anaweza vipi kuleta ule balance ama balance hasa katika kazi ambayo anaifanya ya kawaida na hizi kazi ambazo majukumu ambayo yameongezewa, sio?
Lazima uangalie na kuweka mipangilio na mtiririko wa kazi yako utakayofanya, kwa sababu huwezi kuacha priorities zako kwa sababu zile ndo key KPI zako. Lakini lazima pia una balance ya kujiangalia kwamba ni jinsi gani ambavyo unaweza kubalance between zile majukumu yako ya kawaida pamoja na yale majukumu ya kuwa mbele yako, na kuangalia pia ni jinsi gani ambavyo pia unaweza kuhakikisha kuweka mtiririko huu usiwe na muingiliano katika hali moja au nyingine.
Na ni miaka 100 sasa tangu watafiti wa kihistoria wagundue kaburi la kijana mdogo aliyewahi kuwa mfalme wa Misri. Wakati huo ilielezwa kuwa ilifukuliwa ardhini na mtafiti wa kihistoria Uingereza Howard Carter. Lakini maonyesho mapya huko Oxford hapa Uingereza, yani kule Uingereza, yanaangalia kwa kina utata huu. Fatma Abdalla na arifu hiyo.
Picha, michoro na mipango ni baadhi tu ya vitu vinavyosaidia kuandika upya ugunduzi usio wa kawaida wa kaburi lenye umri wa miaka 3000 la miaka Tutankhamun. Onyesho hili katika chuo kikuu cha Oxford linasaidia kuondoa dhana inayompa sifa Mwingereza Howard Carter kuwa ndiye mtafiti aliyechimbua mabaki na kugundua kaburi hili.
Ujumbe tunaotaka kuwasilisha kwa wageni wetu ni kwamba kwa kweli tunataka kuonyesha mchango wa timu ya Wamisri.
Dr. Daniela Rosnau ni mwikolojia mtafiti wa historia Misri aliyeshiriki kuratibu onyesho hili. Anasema kwamba wakati Carter alipoongoza timu ya watafiti wachimbaji wa mabaki ya kihistoria, kulikuwa na wenyeji wengi walioshiriki.
Hii si hadithi ya shujaa mmoja. Ilichukua miaka 10 na kuwahusisha wanatimu wengi, na zaidi ya yote tunataka kuonyesha mchango wa wanatimu raia wa Misri ambao majina yao mara nyingi hayatajwi wala kuwekwa kwenye orodha ya kumbukumbu kwenye vitabu vya historia.
Kulikuwa na karibu wenyeji 50 na watoto kadhaa kwenye eneo la utafiti. Wakati majina yao hayajarekodiwa popote kwenye kumbukumbu, waandaaji wanatumia picha zao zitakazokosoa dhana ya kikoloni kuhusu ugunduzi unaomhusisha mtu mmoja. Nimezungumza na mtafiti wa mambo ya kale wa Misri Heba Abdel Gawad mjini Cairo, anayesema kuwa wakati huo lilipogunduliwa ilikuwa ni la laana na baraka vile vile.
Ilitoa faida zaidi kufahamika kwa Misri ya kale na kuifanya kuwa maarufu kupita kawaida, lakini kwa maoni na mtazamo wangu kitaalamu, kwa sababu zisizo sahihi kabisa, ilikuwa na athari kwa dunia kuwa na mtazamo chanya.
Waandaaji wa onyesho wanatoa historia kwa ufupi, wakidhihirisha kwa uwazi picha kamili ya ugunduzi wa mambo ya kale yanayoibua ulimwengu ulivyokuwa.
Na iwapo ilikupita, wazazi wawili huko India wamempeleka mwanawe wa kiume mahakamani wakidai yeye na mkewe wamzalie mjukuu ndani ya mwaka mmoja au walipe karibia $650. Wanadai kwamba washatumia hela zao za akiba kumlea na kumsomesha mwana wao rubani na kulipia harusi ya kifahari. Kijana huyo amekuwa kwenye ndoa kwa miaka 6. Alafu kuna mabadiliko mengine katika mpango wa Twitter. Elon Musk alisema kuwa mpango wake wa kununua kampuni hiyo ya mtandao ya kijamii umesitishwa kwa muda kutokana na ripoti ya akaunti gushi kwenye jukwaa. Haikuwa wazi mara moja kulingana na ujumbe wa Musk ikiwa hatua zozote rasmi zilikuwa zimechukuliwa kusitisha ununuzi huo. Alafu nchini Kenya, hakimu aliendesha zoezi la kuchangisha pesa kwa wanandoa wawili ambao walikuwa wameshtakiwa kwa wizi na waliokuwa wamefikishwa katika chumba chake cha mahakama. Watu hawa wameshtakiwa kwa kuiba unga wenye thamani ya $19. Mwisho mwa mitikasi hii leo. Makala kutoka BBC ni Telines Moshigadi. Panapo majaliwa tupatane tena hewani katika makala mengine ya mitikasi.
Wamama wamesema ndio, vijana wamekubali, wanasema enda. Imetoka na kitu.
Mtu wangapi? 200. Nusu. Utanikupatia pesa ati nikiangalia huko. Ni nini natendeka?
Wewe nijatea mimi.
Mimi niko naona ninakuuliza ni nini natendeka?
Nimesema hizo pesa silipi.
Na nimesema
silipi.
Wewe bwana, huu ni mheshimiwa bwana, acha kuweka hiki.
To get John chapter 11 as your skiza tune, dial *811 *965#.
I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die. John chapter 11, verse 25.
To get John chapter 11, dial *811 *965#. To get John chapter 11, dial *811 *965#.
A very good morning to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Sports Check on this Monday morning. It's the 30th of May 2022, the last day of May, 5 months down in the year, and lots of stories that we are going to be taking care of. My name is Daniel Wahome, and remember our Twitter handle is the KBC Channel 1 and our hashtag is Sports Check KBC. Before we get into matters sports, let's take a look at our news diary. And one of the key stories that we shall be taking a look at, and this is from around 11:30 a.m., is the state visit by His Excellency Julius Maada Bio, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone. He will be received at State House, Nairobi, together with his delegation by President Uhuru Kenyatta. And as part of his itinerary, His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio will be the chief guest at this year's Madaraka Day national celebrations at the Uhuru Gardens in Nairobi City County. Our reporter is Nancy Okware. Then later we shall be expecting a press statement from the Council of Governors, and this is on lost cancer drugs. The Council of Governors chairman of the Health Committee, that's Kisumu Governor Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, will address the media today on the lost drugs at the Kenyatta National Hospital, and this is at the Delta Corner offices of the Council of Governors. And also yesterday, there was a tragic incident where Rugby MP William Kamoti was killed in a road accident. He had just been cleared by the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission and to contest for the seat on an ODM ticket. Our reporter, Michael Modiga, is at the home of the late MP William Kamoti, and he will be giving us an update on the process, that the story from the family and also investigations from the accident. And later this afternoon, we shall be having two presidential candidates who will be presenting their credentials to the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission. So none will be presenting their papers this morning, but it is at 2 p.m. and at 3:30 p.m. at the Bomas of Kenya. Kamucha Medza is our